to the verse when you sit, is it? Take a seat. Got your helmet on tight and your boots on your feet. First things first, let's power up the ship. Don't you worry now, I'll give you the tip. Just follow the groove, you'll be alright. Flying through the stars, shining so bright. It's a step-by-step ride, easy and slow. You're a natural pilot, now watch yourself go. Now let's talk quantum, a jump through the space. Set your destination, keep up with the pace. Spool the drive up, feel that gentle hum. Navigating the cosmos has never been more fun. Just follow the groove, you'll be alright. Flying through the stars, shining so bright. It's a step-by-step ride, easy and slow. You're a natural pilot, now watch yourself go. Now let's talk quantum, a jump through the space. Set your destination, keep up with the pace. Spool the drive up, feel that gentle hum. Navigating the cosmos has never been more fun. Just follow the groove, you'll be alright. Flying through the stars, shining so bright. It's a step-by-step ride, easy and slow. You're a natural pilot, now watch yourself go. Now let's talk quantum, a jump through the space. Set your destination, keep up with the pace. Spool the drive up, feel that gentle hum. Navigating the cosmos has never been more fun. Just follow the groove, you'll be alright. Flying through the stars, shining so bright. It's a step-by-step ride, easy and slow. You're a natural pilot, now watch yourself go. Now let's talk quantum, a jump through the space. Set your destination, keep up with the pace. Spool the drive up, feel that gentle hum. Navigating the cosmos has never been more fun. Just follow the groove, you'll be alright. Flying through the stars, shining so bright. It's a step-by-step ride, easy and slow. You're a natural pilot, now watch yourself go. Now let's talk quantum, a jump through the space. Set your destination, keep up with the pace. Spool the drive up, feel that Now let's talk quantum, a jump through the space. Set your destination, keep up with the pace. Spool the drive up, feel that gentle hum. Navigating the cosmos has never been more fun. Just follow the groove, you'll be alright. Flying through the stars, shining so bright. It's a step-by-step ride, easy and slow. You're a natural pilot, now watch yourself go. Watch yourself go. jump through the space, set your destination, keep up with the pace. Spool the driver, feel that gentle hum. Navigating the cosmos has never been more fun. Just follow the groove, you'll be alright. Flying through the stars, shining so bright. It's a step-by-step ride, easy and slow. You're a natural pilot, now watch yourself go. Watch yourself go. Now let's talk quantum, a jump through the space. Set your destination, keep up with the pace. Spool the driver, feel that gentle hum. Navigating the cosmos has never been more fun. Just follow the groove, you'll be alright. Flying through the stars, shining so bright. It's a step-by-step ride, easy and slow. You're a natural pilot, now watch yourself go. Watch yourself go. Now let's talk quantum, a jump through the space. Set your destination, keep up with the pace. Spool the driver, feel that gentle hum. Navigating the cosmos has never been more fun. Just follow the groove, you'll be alright. Flying through the stars, shining so bright. It's a step-by-step ride, easy and slow. You're a natural pilot, now watch yourself go. Watch yourself go. Now let's talk quantum, a jump through the space. Set your destination, keep up with the pace. Spool the driver, feel that gentle hum. Navigating the cosmos has never been more fun. Just follow the groove, you'll be alright. Flying through the stars, shining so bright. It's a step-by-step ride, easy and slow. You're a natural pilot, now watch yourself go. Watch yourself go.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Drake's Den. My name is Mormon631 and with us we have the usual crew, part-time villain.
I thought they were going to go with suspects.
I was going to, but you're not a suspect, you're just a villain. And then we have our wonderful guest with us, who is called Malud Skycrawler, although I may slip into habit and call him something else, but we're just going to deal with that and move on, okay? Okay, are we streaming? We are. Okay.
We are live, yeah.
We are live. All right. I just want to make sure, because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm making this up as I go along. No, but how is everyone this week? Let's start with Skycrawler. How has your week been? What have you been up to?
It's been going good. Just doing school. The norm. Trying to get a screen door so that we can actually open our back door and get some air during the hotter days.
You don't need air.
Yeah, super exciting stuff.
All right, that's cool. So adulting. What about the game?
Yeah,
you've been on Star Citizen much recently? Has 4.7 drawn you back in?
It definitely has. With the last one, I was very much enjoying the new armors and things like that. I like the cosmetics and such on that side. I enjoyed doing the Hathor missions with y'all last time. I really want to get into the engineering portion and actually use a fire extinguisher. I am kind of dead set on that.
Go on a ship with Villain.
Next
He's
time I'm on your
very
ship,
talented.
I'll make it happen.
See how I was
I'll
about
make
to
it
just say
happen.
that, and he came straight in and just supported
Perfect.
everything I was about to say. Yeah. Go on a ship with Villain. There'll be plenty of fires. What about you, Maddie? How's your week been?
It's been pretty good. Trying out the new patch, and it's been really fun. We did some mining yesterday, me and you.
Yep.
And that was pretty interesting. I'm actually really excited. Did some hand mining this morning, an actual mission, and that was actually really fun.
Yeah.
It was like an adventure.
For those who are not initiated in the mining and Star Citizen, hand mining is not like groping rocks. You have a little pistol gun thing that you shoot the rocks with. But yeah. And what about you, Villain? You getting back into the game?
Yeah, I actually play quite a lot. But I'm stuck on blueprint hunting, and I'm kind of feeling like kind of catch them all, kind of Pokemon style, kind of want them all, but it just takes so long to actually get everything.
You're the Ash Ketchum
yeah,
of
I've got a
the
couple.
Star Citizen universe.
Yeah. How about you? You mined yesterday? What
I
happened?
mined.
You never mind.
I mined. Yeah. I mean, everyone assumes that I don't know how to mine. I do know how to mine. I can mine pretty well, and I'm pretty good at it. I just don't like it. It just bores the hell out of me. And
yes, you voiced so many times yesterday.
It's like, oh, when is this rock gonna be done?
Yeah, same thing for me. And what I do, I go full power, and everyone on the ship cracks up. It's gonna blow. It's gonna blow every time.
I don't do that. I actually do it properly, Villain. And
Mormon knows how to do it like a professional.
Yeah. It's kind of a professional wouldn't get bored. A professional wouldn't get bored, but I mean, maybe I'll try Netflix and mining and see how that goes. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever like mining. Probably. For me, mining is now a necessity in order to craft, so I have to do it or pay Maddie, and I can't bring myself to give people money. Kindness.
You don't have to give me money. I'll get us resources.
You're only multi-billionaire. Yeah. You cannot spare a couple hundred here or there.
Yeah, I don't need any more money either.
That's fair. I think we all have enough. Which actually will come into today's
like
conversation.
$1 million because I haven't been in too much. So.
Oh, me and Villain have about 45 billion at this point. It's a bit out of control. We'll talk about the economy as part of this as well anyway. But for today's stream, we are going to be covering the updates as usual for the first 10 minutes. We'll try and cliff note it again. This one's quite a lot of information. But
like last time, cliff note.
Yeah. We'll try and breeze through it a little bit more. But the main purpose of today is to discuss mission scaling. That is mission scaling in the past, how it is currently, and where it needs to go. So we've got some example missions to look at and sandbox events, as well as how that interacts with org gameplay and what is needed for effective org gameplay within Star Citizen. So let's get started. I will not forget to. There's the spinny camera. For some reason, Maddie's camera has decided to spin now, so it's spinning.
Yeah, that's
what
super
it's gonna
cool.
do.
I love that effect.
It's like those effects from like 1940s.
Yes,
the Gazette spins.
Yeah, I didn't have time to fix it, so this is what we have now. Whee! Okay, so let's get in here. Right, so we have a bit of a glimpse of Alpha 4.8 and what that's going to look for. Have you guys had a look at this yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did, and I'm very excited about what's on that card.
Yes. So I think one that everyone's, I wouldn't say excited to see, they're apprehensive, and that's refueling. Because it's great that they're attending to the refueling gameplay, but they tend to address gameplay when they're going to release ships. And I think people are going to be questioning as to what form that's going to take.
That's the part I'm looking forward to.
Right at the end, initially will be fulfilled by NPCs. So looks like they want to go in the route where like you call, you can call a beacon and an NPC will come over and actually refuel your ship. And actually talked about it in the card that's underneath that says refueling improvements. So they're kind of going in the direction docking goes.
Yeah, so
And
it's P to E or E
they
to
want to
P.
auto dock it. Yeah.
Yeah. So missions for players will be for NPC ships. And then the other way around, you'll get NPCs to come refuel you. That's cool. That's probably a good first implementation, because for refueling to be viable for P to P, they need to balance quantum fuel and hydrogen fuel.
That's why I was
within ships. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Villain. Yeah, go ahead.
No, so the thing I get from here, because I don't really care about the refueling and stuff, but that's kind of the problem. So I'm hoping when they come out and your refueling is gonna be a thing, they're gonna reduce, especially like smaller ships and fighters, the quantum fuel, how much they actually take. So they maybe hop from planet to planet, need to stop, very short burst, and then if you get stuck, you need to call them to come and refuel you, kind of thing, right? So I'm hoping it's gonna be a bigger fix overall.
Have you delved into refueling at all, Skycrawler? Hey there, Jinx. How's it going?
Jinxie.
We have a guest with us today.
Hello.
We have a new person. I think you may have met him last
time.
stream. Yeah. This is what Skycrawler looks like. He has a beard with a human attached to it. It's great.
I'm a bit human attached.
So, you know, it's okay. That's what you are. I'm sorry. This is what we're going to go with.
You know, I accept that. It is my identity at this point.
Be careful it doesn't gain sentience like Villain's beard when it gets too long. So yeah,
if it does, I will
sorry.
welcome it and give it a name.
Yes. Obi.
Jeffrey.
No. Otherwise, I'm going to be like, my name is Jeff. You know?
That'll be good.
Exactly. So, have you had much interaction with refueling at all, Skycrawler?
No, not in the slightest. I'd wanted to try it, but then you don't really get people really requesting it as much, at least in my experience. I am excited to see what, as far as where they can take it, even for heck, org events. If you're doing races or long distance races or anything like that are going to be exceptionally long, that could be really useful and a fun little implementation in that, as well as if there's ever any planetary big battles, which I am highly looking forward to.
Yeah, I think we're all looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I think one way they could balance refueling, actually, hanging on to something that you said there, Skycrawler, is maybe they could reduce the fuel capacity of racing ships. And that would balance racing ships in a way where people wouldn't use them for combat as much because you run out of hydrogen fuel. It would give a reason for refueling ships to be present at racing events. I know this is very specific and may not quite work, but something along those lines might be a really good way of doing it.
Where imagine having like a really good pit crew, essentially. That would add a skill factor to it as far as like getting in line, getting it done fast. You could even have just specific spots and being able to stop on a dime in the right area. Be fun.
It would then require you to transport your racing ships on a C2 or an M2. So it would create kind of the need for transportation, for refueling, for so that's really cool. That's a good idea. I think I can see that being really cool.
I didn't went that far with it, but I like it even more. I haven't even done any like real racing stuff with anyone, but
something that sometimes annoys Villain about me is I tend to think too far ahead. to overthink ideas. And I was like, I'm talking about now. And I'm like, well, I'm talking about the future. Damn it.
But I want it now. And he's like, wow, let's fix this. I'm like, no, just put it in the game.
Fair enough. Right, so we've got flight suits getting G-force resistance specific characteristics, which is the start of specialization.
I'm really looking forward to that one.
Is that because you flew the seal in and could not stay awake?
Yes, that's exactly. I passed out and died because of it. What?
I watched the video.
So I really want them quick.
Ship Hangar Service Tier 0. I didn't actually see this one. Implementing service gameplay updates that draw from resources stored in your ship's cargo grid to fulfill refueling, repair, and restocking requests via...
Yeah, that's sort of...
Ship Hangar Service. That's the mother shipping. That's mother shipping.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So that's coming V8. That's coming 4.8.
So like
That's really
inside your Idris, you'll be able to refuel, or inside your Polaris, or any ship that has like the hangar, like the Carrack maybe too, will have that
Yeah.
ability
I think
to
all of them.
refuel
Yeah.
fighters.
Yeah.
So I think with this, it's gonna be the battle thing, battle groups thing, or whatever that's
Strike
called.
teams.
That's what
Strike
That's
teams, yeah, or something.
everyone's speculating, that we might get the strike teams.
Yeah. It would make sense because it would be alongside Invictus Week, which is a military themed event within Star Citizen. Shall we bring up strike teams up so people know what we're talking about, or should we just move on?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Up to
Just
you.
be conscious about there's
Yeah.
a long list.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
We can come back to strike teams as part of the
Yeah,
discussion later because the
mission gameplay, the gameplay org stuff
it
talks
is
about it.
related. Yeah.
Yeah.
But just a quick overlay. So the strike teams are going to be the start of instancing and the use of social tools. We're going to get a little bit of that this year and then more of it later in the year. But essentially, it's the start of ships having specific roles and needing to coordinate a small fleet of ships to do a mission. So it's quite exciting for people who are involved in Star Citizen. And we're all hoping to kind of interact with the game in a more epic way than we are currently. Because right now, most org v org events or org sized events have to be organized by the org themselves in order to have them, which is great and they're really fun. But there's no immersive kind of like, oh, an org battle just kind of came out of nowhere, you know? There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
Right
I
now.
think for me, the biggest problem with that, the organized one, there's no clear objective. There's one maybe somewhat on the Hatter, but usually there's no real objective. You don't know when you win, when you lose, kind of thing, or when you just should move on.
You have to curate the criteria yourself. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
New Wicklow ships. I'm not bothered about this. The only thing I've ever got from Wicklow is some binoculars, and then it turned out the next patch that CIG walked back on that, and you don't even need to go to him to get the binoculars. So
No, there's a difference between binoculars and Wicklow and normal ones.
no, the night vision ones are in the shops now.
Oh, do they? Oh,
Yeah,
I haven't gotten
exactly.
anything off of Wicklow yet.
That's why I said it, villain.
I didn't realize that's a thing.
What about the vehicle command module? You skipped that one.
That's not a big thing. We don't need to talk about that.
Yes, it is. To me.
No, you're right. I'm sorry. That was my mistake. So vehicle command module is coming out. That is a really big one. Everyone's really excited about that. And it's coming along for the Caterpillar and for
The Ironclad.
Thank you. My brain went. The Ironclad. Let's bring that up. Just for some visuals. So
Villain, new Drake ship, villain. How dare you?
I know. And I really want that one.
I know.
I'm going to use it as my battleship.
yeah, I've got it, villain. You can borrow mine. Are you attached to your kidneys?
Oh, it is spoken for. Sorry, man.
Damn it. Damn it.
I've got labels on every organ already.
It's okay. Labels can be erased. That's the joy of labels. Right. So, this here, you can't really see it very well on this picture, to be honest.
Look at that big chunky beauty. Look at that thing, man. It's the most beautifulest ship in the game. Look at it.
So
Nothing but smooth angles.
It's got this smooth. It's got this command deck in the middle of the ship, but you actually pilot it from this little module on the side, and this is the command module. And the idea is that you'll be able to detach it and land on a planet in the command module and leave your cargo in dead space, for example, or evacuate in an emergency if you're being attacked by pirates and come back with backup to retrieve your cargo.
I just can imagine I'm gonna be piloting your Ironclad, and you're gonna be like on Terra. Sorry, guys, it's lost, and I'm gonna just bounce off and just leave you guys on the floating coffin in space.
You make a tactical decision one time, and that's just what people assume is going to happen every time. So that is going to be detaching, and it's also for the Caterpillar as well. Let's get that up.
Can that be actually the first real drop pod? Think about it. You're in atmosphere. You just disconnect from it and let it drop with like tanks and people inside.
So there's the Caterpillar.
That's my favorite ship in the game. Look at it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Okay, so this is the caterpillar. So he's got a similar, if not very, pretty much the same pod on the side of the ship. And this will be added to the caterpillar, this patch, which, fingers crossed, also means it might get its upgrades, the caterpillar.
I would not hold my breath.
I mean, I wouldn't hold my breath.
I love Drake.
I would
But
How many
think-
years
I
have
think
been waiting for that?
I would hope
think
that they
it'll
would
get a little
upgrade the caterpillar.
Me
as
too.
part
I
of it.
hope.
Yeah.
Mark II, they're gonna need to do it from this
Oh,
one.
no, Mark IIs. Right. Anyway.
I think there is Mark II for that one. Sadly.
Villain's long-awaited crossbow is coming in 4.8, which is great.
Yeah,
So
put in a good word for you, villain. That cost me.
you haven't seen his son in a while.
Mhm.
You had to send him off to the camps to get that for you, villain, didn't you, Maddie?
I'm not getting my liberator for a while now.
Right. And then
I do
the
like
start
the idea
of
good stealth.
FPS tools coming into the game as well, which is a plasma grenade that is an area of denial. So that's a very cool thing, and hopefully we'll get more like traps and bombs
Yeah,
and such.
To lock down an area and prevent enemies from pushing through is what it says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
like,
was
spread-
Grenade.
Go ahead.
I was thinking about this when the crafting came out and they dropped this. So when we start, we'll be able to craft grenades. Can you imagine? So like you put something in like plasma grenade, you can increase the area of effect, or the damage as well, or like even frag grenades as well,
Yeah.
or I don't know, stuff like that would be cool. Or make it lighter so you can throw it further as well.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
That'd be cool.
That'd be features.
Yeah,
Cut
and-
Be amazing.
grenades fit the situation. That'd be neat.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think having those tools in will be very MMO. It will add some, like in other MMOs where they would be abilities, in this game they would be tools.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's going to bring in that MMO feel to the FPS combat. Traps versus area of denial versus blockades versus whatever else, just to kind of add that extra tactical awareness, tactical strategic need in a combat situation.
Yeah.
So that plasma
still-
grenade's more like an area of effect type of
Yeah.
skill that you would have in a regular MMO.
I still want to like EMP grenade, incendiary grenade, and there was one other, a smoke grenade and flashbang.
I think of all the tools that could come, aside from maybe trap items, I would want an incendiary grenade.
Yeah,
Because-
how are you gonna set up the fire in the ships otherwise?
Yeah, well,
Exactly.
you turn the
You're gonna
coolers
be
off and drive for an hour, or fly for an hour. No, but yeah, so incendiary grenades I think will be the most useful to begin with, and they already have a counter in the game, which is to vent atmosphere.
Yep. Yeah.
So, it's kind of ready there already. I guess the only thing that would be holding that back is planetary use of that item, because we can't set fire to planets at the moment.
Microtech just burned the whole forest down.
It's no longer
The
frozen.
whole planet in fire.
It's no longer frozen.
Yeah, but they said we're not going to be able to set things on fire on planets, so that's probably going to get in the way of
No.
incendiary.
Sucks.
Hammerhead gold standard, so that's a nice update.
Are they going to have sticky grenades or no?
Oh, maybe.
Ooh, that would be. Oh, impact,
I feel
impact
like-
grenades. That would
I'll
be good as
give
well.
Villain
I think
encouraging
impact
pats on the
would be
back.
good, But I feel like sticky, if you're going against any of the worms or the snakes or something, it'd be kind of cool to be able to try to throw them in their mouth or something and get some good damage.
Yeah, that's
Well, that
cool.
just
Or they
melts
like-
right off.
Or they like running around and like vehicle around you, just stick it onto the so they
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe,
It would
maybe
be
one
good,
day
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
have animal capture as well, and we'll have hooks to tie the animal down. You just kind of pull them down. Because they got some really cool rope tech in Squadron 42. So
Yes.
maybe that'll come
Yeah?
through. Yeah, if you watch the
Have they given a lot of updates on that recently, or?
No, but
No,
if you
not last year.
watch some of the gameplay trailers over the last couple of years
Okay.
and you watch sections of it, you can see the rope tech, and the physics of it are ridiculous, which I know is incredibly nerdy, but then it's hard to you'd have to watch it. You'd have to watch it.
My brain was probably just thinking like, "Oh, that's Mark Hamill. That's this person."
I'm just like, I don't
Like,
care
how
about
many
those people.
that
Give
get
me
this from that
ropes.
trailer?
Give me ropes. Wait, no, that came out wrong. No, don't give me ropes. That's not what I'm into. Anyway. Star Citizen 1.0 card now has Maelstrom on it. So that is planned to be part of 1.0. Just to clarify that, though, just because it's on 1.0 doesn't mean it won't come earlier. It just means it's set to be there on the completion of 1.0. But that's good news. Good to know that that will be in. Because that's one of those carrots that they dangled for years but never quite delivered on. So that's a nice update there. Right. There's quite a lot left. And
We can brush through this really fast. That's just,
Drafting, yeah.
I think
this beginning half
this
is
is a
just
podcast
everything
on
that
its
has
own.
to do with
Go
the
ahead,
patch. The beginning half right there has to do with the patch. The patch just starts the future of crafting is pretty juicy and would take up a lot of time. If you want to just look through that and see anything that interests you, we could just go over like maybe one or two things in here.
I think maybe just a general brief of kind of the vision of crafting, and then we can kind of move on. But basically, the way that crafting works right now is the loop is you mine and salvage, you refine, and then you get a crafter, which right now is just armor and guns, and you use those materials to craft the item. The variable there is the quality of the materials, which is between 0 and 1000. Anything below 500 will degrade the statistics of the item you craft. Anything above 500 will add to the base stats of the armor. Have you been able to craft anything, Skycrawler, at all?
No, not at all. I just got it updated last night. So
Oh, so you haven't even got to try it yet.
Get on it, man.
Yeah,
Why are you so
let's try it.
slow?
What are you doing? Leave the podcast. Go play, man. Get out of here.
You are uninvited.
How dare you?
Wow.
That would hurt my
I haven't
feelings so
crafted
hard.
anything either.
I haven't even touched a fabricator yet.
Yeah. I'm focusing on blueprints and materials first, so that I don't just
Exactly.
craft off
The
fumes.
only thing I use Fabricator for is to check the blueprints I've got. He's like, oh, I've got a couple.
He wants to admire the blueprints. He doesn't want to actually craft because he'll
I
be
couldn't print them
disappointed.
out and put in a frame. Nothing like that. So
Oh,
yeah,
sad
that's the
times.
only way.
So that's the general loop. You can dismantle items. You will receive the same quality of material the item is made from, which is good. Right. So here is the new stuff. There's a new refining system coming in where I think a lot of people expected it to be purifying materials, but it turns out the approach that Star Citizen is going for is combining materials to create alloys and things like that. And that will play into, if anyone remembers from CitizenCon, where they had the primary material, the secondary material, and the catalyst material. That's where that's going to come in. So it's nice to see that they're sticking with that idea. Go ahead, Villain.
Yeah, I'm preferring this one because it opens up more options later down the road for like level 3 or 4, whatever they're gonna want to do.
I think there's room for purifying. Like, I think they could still bring that in without damaging this. Because I think within a game, the idea of purifying is to bring the quality of an item up to get rid of the impurities. So, yeah. Go ahead, Manny.
And one of the things I've been speculating is, we saw it last night. We were seeing deposits like iron, or it was titanium and corundum. You were seeing it say corundum ore and then raw deposits.
Yeah.
I think what my speculation is, I think raw deposits will be the one that when you do refine it, you'll get less of a chance of getting a secondary because it's just the raw material. And then when you get the ore, that's where it'll have attached the carbon as like a secondary inside of it when you refine it. That's one way I'm thinking of it, because I don't see the other reason for having ore and raw. But because that's the way I think of it right now. Like, raw will get you actually the raw material when you refine it, and then ore will get you the raw material plus the secondary, which looks like is going to be carbon, which carbon gets used a lot for crafting.
I don't think that's how they're looking at it. I thought it's more like you're gonna get, like, let's say iron, you mine iron deposit, and then you go and mine the coal deposit. and they take them both into the smelter.
but
or
There's two
refine-
deposits. There's corundum ore
Guys,
and there's
let me
corundum
just
raw.
settle this. New system creates alloys and composite materials, no
Yeah.
longer converting iron ore into iron, but into iron ore and carbon. So it is what Maddie said.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure the exact distinction of ore and raw.
Raw. That's where I'm lost because they
Yeah.
don't have any
I
info
think
on ore
that-
and raw right now.
That will become
And that's
clear
brand
as
new.
time goes on. Sorry, go ahead.
You guys are going really deep into the details, and I'm like, man, I'm just really glad we have a use for all the things we can mine instead of just
Yeah.
selling it.
Yes. Well,
Well,
yeah.
mining's my main gameplay, so like I go deep
Uh.
into this stuff.
Yeah, I think for this podcast, we're not going to go into this future of crafting because this is extremely deep. This is a podcast
Yeah.
all on its own. So maybe we'll do this next week if it's
Yeah, I think we should.
still relevant. But it would work for next week if we wanted to do that. So we'll skip this section because, as Skycrawler so aptly pointed out, we're all a bunch of nerds. And we are incapable
Where? Who?
of breezing
Where?
past information that's interesting. Or we perceive as interesting anyway. On to the main part of the podcast, which might be more your kind of thing, Skycrawler.
Oh no, I am very happy about to go into the details. Honestly, that wasn't a.
No, it's too late now. We've hurt our
dig.
feelings.
Yeah, we're blaming you now. It's internet
I
forever.
just bet you guys know a lot more than me right now since I haven't been as far into it. I'm super excited about all the things that you guys are saying, and then I just went back to like a very base level. Like, man, there's so many things that you would mine for, and half of it you wouldn't even want to sell. So now there's uses for all those things that you can grab for the most part, or there will be, which is just
Wow, Jenks.
finally.
That's just rude.
Villain,
Yeah,
it's not rude if it's true.
I mean, we are nerds.
Slander.
I mean,
Better.
the extra E's, R's, D's, and S's weren't necessary, to be fair, Jinx. But yes, we're nerds. It's all good. Don't worry about
Oh, wow.
If the introvert shoe fits,
it.
at least for me.
I am not an introvert, okay? I am a tactful extrovert.
They were wildly
Ooh.
necessary.
They were wildness. Okay. So here I've got all of the missions, or most of the missions, whether they're sandbox or events that CIG have released. So we've got Siege of Orison, the Hathor OLPs, ASD Onyx facilities, Rock Cracker QV stations, Stormbreakers, and the QV station. I'm getting a little bit of feedback from someone's microphone from the podcast.
It might be me.
Yeah, if you could mute the podcast, that'd be good. I'm hearing myself and I hate my voice. You're cursing me with my voice. So, all of these missions have different scales to them. And one of the topics of this, obviously, is mission scaling. So, for example, Siege of Orison is a server-wide mission. And it's aged terribly because of this. Because originally, maybe 4 years ago, the servers were 50 people. And now we're like 500 to 700 people, depending on the server. So a server-wide Siege of Orison mission is feasibly about 500 to 600 people in total. I think it was about 200 max at the time that it launched, which was too much for the servers to handle. Way too much. It's a PvPvE mission, as you can side with the pirates and take out other players, which was terribly implemented because there was no way of dealing with it. You just get shot by a player and that'd be it. You have the Hathor Sandbox mission, which has no limit to how many people that can do it. It's server-wide, and it's PvPvE. You've got ASD Onyx Facility, which is a mission-assigned activity. It's for 3 to 5 people. However, you can take as many as you want. And it's PvE. You got Rock Cracker, which is server-wide and mission-assigned, depending on the mission you take. And that's for 4 to 6 people plus. It's generally designed for 4 to 6 people, but you can take an org, which we'll be doing tomorrow. Stormbreaker, again, server-wide. I'd say about 8 to 12 people would be a good number. probably more on the side of 8 to 10. But again, you can take as many people as you want. And
Pew, pew.
that... Ooh, go ahead.
I just said pew pew. Sorry.
Oh, I thought you said if you. I was like, oh no, I interrupted Maddie.
Oh.
And then you got QV stations, which are mission assigned, 5 to 10 people, PvE. So we've got a variety of missions there at different scales. Skycrawler, in your experience with some of these missions, I don't know how many of them you've done or which ones you've done. Which one do you think fell flat on its face in terms of scaling?
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't almost. I don't. I'm really bad with names, so I'm like I recognize Hathor.
Right. Okay.
For the most part.
So Siege of
I'm
Arson.
sure like any of the ones.
Sorry, go ahead.
See. Siege of Arson. Okay. That was the yeah. That one I would say fell pretty flat. That was quite a few years ago too.
Yeah.
Siege of Arson definitely did that one a few times. It was really exciting because I feel like that was one of the first times you got to just go against just a ton of NPCs that would like respawn. So you just do it all day as many times as you want. And I thought that was cool, but when there was a lot of people on server, it just ran like dog water. Just bad.
Yeah.
But it was neat. It was going to the different platforms and then getting to it was the A2 or C2? A2?
You'd have a few different ships, so you could get hold of the A2 and the C2 on the mission.
Yeah, that's usually what we would usually aim for anyway.
Yeah.
But I remember especially early on, sometimes you couldn't even kill the NPCs. They're just running around and then they just kill you.
That's like
Invincible
NPCs
in
the game.
Yeah. Yeah. So that kind of dipped in scaling. I think if it were, does it still run now? Have we seen it?
Siege of Arson has been active for like 2 years. Yeah, they're planning on bringing it back. I think either 4.8 or 4.9.
Okay. I think it'll run a lot better now. Now that we're up to around 700 people, as you said earlier. I think it'll be a lot more stable, at least on the player count.
Yeah, for sure. I think what we're going to see in the near future, because I think Siege of Arson was the lesson learning stage for CIG. Because the concept of Siege of Arson, I don't know if you'll all agree with this, was brilliant. Like the actual idea of having a server-wide event where everyone would just work together and do something that was really cool. A very MMO style thing as well. So it was definitely leaning on to what it's trying to be. But the lesson that was learned was the servers are just not ready for it.
Yep.
And I think that's reflected in the missions that they have now started to create in the game. Sorry, Maddie, go ahead.
No, you're saying you pretty much said what I was going to say. And it was just pretty cool to see it happening at a planet, that we all had to meet up at a place on a planet to do the event. Like that was the city, you had to pull up to the city, you had to take the tram to this little platform. I thought that was like pretty cool because like, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes there'd be like so many people packed in there. A transit tram.
Yeah, I mean, it was
crazy. Everyone running out.
It was the first time where the tram has actually felt like a tram. You had to kind of squeeze in there and try not to push anyone out of the vehicle, like real life. But
this makes me wonder how many people clip through the sides.
Right?
And there were people. Wow. You'd be like, no, not again. But as I said, I think it's a lesson that CIG learned at Siege of Arson that the game is not ready to handle events like that. And it's reflected in the sandbox events, so that it's just as many people that turn up. Now that they've got a static server meshing, they don't have to worry about it as much, which is why the sandbox events are a bit more feasible now. They probably wouldn't have been able to be put in back then. And then you've got these. Sorry? Yep.
Saying none of these would have worked back then. Not one of them.
I think ASD possibly could have worked. The Onyx facility.
You know what? Yeah, you're probably right. That one, because it's underground, so like it sends you to the spot. But I feel like a lot of the other ones, no, not even close.
Ghost Hollow.
Maybe the QV stations.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Ghost Hollow as well. It's not on here, but that was one of their first attempts at a sandbox activity. And the
I will
payoff
say
just...
this for CIG. Sorry.
It's okay. No, go ahead.
Is that for the most part their mission design and what they're trying to do and trying to test out is always, pretty ambitious and is really cool. And in concept, it's usually just the server and the limitations that end up, biting them in the butt, or I guess, testing them. I would say, because technically we're not in no beta or anything. Still, we're still testing, and of course the biggest hurdles. Exactly, the biggest hurdles is the player capacity, server stability, and stuff at such a scale to get those types of missions to work. So it's been interesting to see how, like, over the years, kind of just keep packing the server a bit, fuller, add things to it, and just break it repeatedly. Kind of increase that capacity for functionality.
Yeah, exactly. What about you, Villain? What are you thinking?
They could have fixed that instead of like just fixing the servers. Oh, it works now for 500 people. Let's make it to 700 straight away. And this stop working straight away after that. Just leave us like 2 or 3 months.
Oh, they've got 700 servers right now, and they're working.
Yeah.
But it would
I mean,
be
that is probably the test, though. You want to be able, be able to test over time the consistency and how long it takes for the servers to degrade and everything else. And people give Star Citizen a hard time stuff, but the ambitiousness of it is still always very, I don't know. It keeps you looking forward, and especially over the last couple of years, they've definitely done a lot more to. They've given a lot more to the players and stuff, so I feel like getting more and more hopeful as these things get pulled out.
Yeah, Villain, you're not going to like the updates that are coming soon, because they're going to be testing 2,000 players in the next year.
Yeah, no, I know.
Really?
Yeah.
2,000, huh?
They've tried before. It didn't go well.
The goal is that every shard will have 10,000 players, and that's from
but
Chris Roberts' mouth.
if they put up more servers, which they don't want to do because that costs money on a shard, then it would be fine. But no.
Way more than 2,000 people play this game concurrently, Jinx.
Yeah.
So the player base is bigger than you might think.
Yeah, refuse to believe 2,000. that is a true supporter right there.
Yeah.
Can you tell that Jinx doesn't play the game? Does it show? Does it show? I think it shows. So I've got all the mission structures laid out here. Some of them I've made myself because there weren't Mr. Kraken documents, but to save myself time on the others, there are Mr. Kraken documents there, which are very, very good. Very easy to understand. We don't have to look at every mission in detail, but it might be good to look at how those are structured, and how we might want to see them improve in terms of scaling in the future, because at the moment we're very limited in terms of missions where it involves large groups. I think the only ones that really encourage it, or the only one that really encourages it, is Hathor.
Yep. Unfortunately.
And Siege of Orison, which currently is defunct. So scalability is an issue. I think it's very clear right now, but we're reaching a stage now in the game where it will no longer be so. Does anyone have a mission in particular that they're quite passionate about or quite enjoy that you want to look at first?
No, not
Is
really.
the sandworms on there?
There is no passion. The Stormbreaker's here.
You know what?
Hmm?
Stormbreaker's Your Mandy fight was amazing to me. I think that was like the most fun.
Instantly getting two missions confused. You mean the Valakar, yeah?
No, the
Your Mandy is in ASD.
Yeah, Your Mandy's ASD, Stormbreaker's the worm. You're getting your missions.
Did I say Stormbreaker?
You did, yeah. So you mean the
ASD facility? Yes.
You were confused while we were confused.
ASD did fall flat in the beginning. It fell flat in the beginning.
Did it?
Like, yeah, when they first came out with the missions, like when you got to the end mission, it was kind of nothing, and then they came out with the puzzle mission, and then the Yurmandi fight after.
Okay.
It was like a 3-part
Yeah,
series
but
that they did. The first
Yeah.
missions were just to investigate, and you went through a little bit.
yeah,
And then the second mission was doing me and you did it, Villain. We did the puzzle for the radiation. And then after that came out the Yurmandi with the last little bit, which was like the room where you actually heard the scientist say, and we saw the Van Duel. I was having a brain fart.
Was
yeah.
it a
But
good
like
one?
Yurmandi, it's a side quest in the whole thing. It's not really a main kind of
Yeah.
reason
Well,
for going in there.
I think I know what Mandy was talking about of what felt like it fell flat. So, because the individual areas, the research area and the engineering area, both felt really cool to do. I think we can all agree. When they
Yes.
were fully working and doing what they were supposed to do, they were really cool. Really atmospheric, really engaging, and having a small group of people felt good for that type of mission. So, in terms of scalability, I do think this is very tightly designed for a small group of people.
It is.
But the actual missions themselves were really, really cool. They had a really good layout. You had so much space. The amount of space that is inside these facilities compared to anything we've received before was a massive expansion to the game. And it was one of these kind of eye-opening missions where you'd be like, okay, Star Citizen might be actually doing things now. I think when it fell flat was when Site B opened up. And again, Site B, there's nothing wrong with it. It's, again, very engaging. You enter over here and you've got the cargo elevator, well, several cargo elevators. And you have the Ormandy fight over here, which you kind of branch off to do. And all these rooms, again, very atmospheric, very cool, very engaging. You've even got FPS turrets in there now, which we were all very surprised to find last night. We were kind of like, oh, okay, they're in.
Who is shooting me? What's happening? But they've got like a special voice cue. You can hear them now, like if you know what you're looking for.
Yeah, it's kind of like a beep kind of thing as it comes out the roof.
Yeah.
Does it have a voice as well, like a person saying?
No, it's just the sound thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it says, "I'm gonna kill you, bro."
I'm gonna get you. So right up to the specimen room, everything is amazing. Everything is great. Everything's really cool. And you go through this door here to find. I'm not going to say what it is in case there's anyone who hasn't done this mission yet.
I think Maddie already spoiled it 5 minutes ago.
Oh, God damn, Maddie. To find Project Hyperion, which in itself is really cool. And the trailer that they made for it is also awesome. But with doing it in the game itself, it was really underwhelming because they didn't add any of the effects they'd showed in the trailer. It was, if Maddie's already said it, I'll just go for it. It was just a Van Duel on like an experimentation table with its chest cut open. You would go up into this room that's shielded for radiation and you would activate this big machine. And in the trailer, there's like this big gravitational wave that's over the body and it all comes crashing down. I might show it in a minute, actually. But then when you do it in the game, it just kind of does all these sound effects and flashing lights, and that's it.
I think maybe if like they had kind of a prison or cells with Van Duels in there, and they're all open and they suddenly swarming you,
That's
the kind of big finale on the end would be way better. But like, and it's like you press the button, lights showed up. Oh yeah, you're done.
Yeah. Well, that's what I thought, because these stars represent these tubules in the hallway. That's what I thought was going to happen with these. Like, you would do something in this room, you would cycle this, but maybe you'd release some, maybe not like a full strength Van Duel, but like some kind of lesser version of the Van Duel that's been imprisoned. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Let me just show the trailer. What was the trailer called? So,
Jinx, you're not gonna remember tomorrow as we've been talking about. So it's not spoiled.
No. Let me find it on the Star Citizen website. That's fine.
Well, I was just happy to see the alien. You see how my expectations I was like,
Yeah.
there was an alien with an open chest. I'm happy.
Look, we won everything. Okay, the Dark Territory,
That's the one, yeah. I think.
Stormbreaker. No, there's a couple of adverts for it. That's the thing. So I'm trying to find the right one.
It'd be the top launch trailer of it.
One of engineering. Just making sure it is the right one before I click on it. Didn't waste any time. Yeah, it looks like Virtue's Descent. That's the one. Yeah, it is Virtue's
Sub-Zero.
Descent.
Yes, Lies. Yeah. Oh.
Lies? What are we lying? I like Skycrawler. He complains less than the lot of you. We're not complaining. We're
Hey, I don't complain. I don't know about these guys.
We just got high.
Can I just point out that
Oh.
CIG have a reputation of spoiling the entire thing in the trailer for the thing they're trying to get you to play. So we are talking about mission scaling and org gameplay within Star Citizen. Right now we're just kind of covering a little bit about ASD. Here we go. Right. So CIG always spoil everything when they're in the trailers. It's ridiculous. They need to stop doing it.
I agree. It's all Maddie's fault. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
That's what I was expecting to see. You see that Tinky there?
So you get to see this big gravitational orb above the Vandal, and it's like, oh wow, it's amazing, woo!
And then you see this guy. The bomb
ahead.
collapsed, and yesterday there was 4 of us in there. We left the Darth down next to it, and we turned the radiation on. And Darth, Darth, are you still down there? And he's like, I'm getting irradiated. It was so funny.
So what they don't tell you is they had opened the chat and they did the / get on knees to like create the animation with the scene. You got to role play it yourself, damn it.
Let me see if I can start it object.
Oh, right, Zero. Did you complete your blueprint hand? Then you've got everything.
You get it all. Did you? Jess? No?
I've been a
Maybe.
Star Citizen back.
Okay.
Okay. Now I've got to find. Yeah, that's Hyperion.
He
Isn't
didn't
it?
complete. Oh well.
Hold on.
Tomorrow. You've
There
got
we
whole
go.
weekend.
Found it.
It's Barman's fault.
Oh, it's from. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice.
Okay, so you find it, and then you come up here. That's the data download. Still the data download.
Oh, you're just going back.
Okay, he's not done it yet. Okay, so there it is. So it cycles in the background, and all that happens is it gets raised up. There's a flashing light. There's some Christmas tree lights, and then that's it. That's all that happens. So it's a little bit underwhelming, and then that's the end of the mission. You've done all that work. You get to the end, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Were
It doesn't
you?
hit at the end.
Yeah. Were you disappointed with the villain when you did it?
Yeah. I was ready for a boss fight at that point.
That's what I'm
I was
saying.
thinking he's gonna come back, zip himself up or something, and ready to
Zip
combat.
himself up.
Thought he was gonna get off the table and start whooping our ass or
Yeah,
something.
Is-
Spear somebody.
He's just like, oh no, that's just how we sleep. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like to
Sleep with
air
your
it
chest
out.
open. Just,
Yeah.
I'm getting hot during the night. I'm just venting.
Ventilation. Yeah, it's all good. So the layout of the entire mission is great. Is cool, and in terms of scaling, it's very specifically designed for small groups of people, which I think those kinds of missions do have a place in Star Citizen. So this podcast isn't to say that's not okay. It's just maybe lamenting slightly the fact that really at the moment only one mission serves to have orgs play together.
That's why I'm slightly disappointed about the new Rogue Breaker, because I was hoping it's gonna be maybe something that's gonna bring us back together kind of more
I would say
instead of
it's closer to Hathor than people are saying in terms of the shareable ones.
yeah.
Now that crafting is in, I think there will be instances where you might want to take a larger group with you because of that factor.
So which I get what you're saying. The only problem I've got the combat one, the PvP version, because there's like 30 of them or something,
Mm-hmm.
and there could be multiple people getting like 2 or 3 groups, maybe potentially get it, but there's still a lot of them, right? So it's lower chances of meeting each other. If there would be like 4 of them, like Hathor in the whole system, then yeah, there's not a 4 to 6 people mission. There's like 20 people mission suddenly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I was hoping for. That's all. Yeah.
I mean, it is clearly designed for 4 to 6 people, and I've labeled it as such because that is the purpose of it. But I think the advantage of it is that it doesn't have to be, and it can be turned into an org thing if you really want it to be. I think the problem with it is that the rewards will not supply an org. That's the major issue. And that's the issue with most things in this game. Even Hathor, even Hathor with its org-centric approach, does not have a reward large enough to supply an org, and it is a massive issue. So the way to address that
one
is
person in the org.
yeah, exactly. So the solution there is you need to scale the reward correctly and make sure it's not completable, or it's very difficult to complete alone, so that a solo player isn't over rewarded for a mission. So that when an org completes it, that they're completing it for the org, and you're not having to decide who you're going to give the rewards to. Go ahead, Villain. Sorry.
Yeah. So Hathor got a little bit better now, because I've got the Parallax rifle blueprint, and needs Karenite in it, and the only place to find Karenite is in the Hathor now, in the hole. So now you actually want to mine all the Karenites because you're looking for the higher quality. So it got slightly better now, but it still needs, I think, a little bit more work.
Yeah, I think the pure Karenite thing, not really.
That's the biggest thing.
Because there's so little of it. There's basically no point in doing it unless you're doing it on your own. I mean, what I'm hoping to see in terms of mission scaling, and this is just me kind of, again, theory crafting, but if you want org battles to be part of missions in the future, the way you'd need to structure them and the way you could implement them with instancing, which is coming in, is you'd have your goal, whatever that might be. This is going to be very simplified. And then you'd have maybe 2 sides of a mission that need to be filled. Okay. So maybe the instance is a container for 100 people. This isn't a perfect idea, so don't jump on me. And then maybe
guys.
One side of the mission is an illegal mission that people can fill, and the other side of the mission is UEE supported, right? Maybe there's a certain amount of slots within that instance that accepts a certain amount of players. It doesn't necessarily always have to be filled, but they're going to have a mission scaler built into the game. They've already spoken about it, where they'll instance things and have the correct amount of people accept the mission and such. So let's say that in total in the whole server, only 30 people want to do it. The mission availability will make sure there's around 13 to 15 people on each team, each side of the mission. And so you could have like org v org gameplay built into a mission that instances with a specific goal in mind with an org-sized reward. Again, it's not perfect, and no way do I think it is. But this is the kind of thing we want to see in terms of things. Maybe it doesn't have to be a mission, but instancing allows for stuff like this. It doesn't have to be that you have to fill every slot, but if it balances it correctly, then you have org gameplay that you can choose to take part in. You organize a group of 15 people, You sign up for the UEE side of things, and then that mission maybe posts on the illegal side of things, and each team gets a different reward. So depending on what you want, you might choose a different side. Maybe UEE
like that
gives
idea.
more monetary rewards plus something else like blueprints, and the smuggler side of things gives more material rewards plus, I don't know, a special armor. And depending on what you want, incentivizes you to choose a specific side of that mission. It's essentially PvP Orison, I guess. Siege of Orison.
I don't know how I feel about this. It may be one of
I feel
the
like
missions.
Siege of Orison was PvP sometimes.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, villain.
No. I'm just thinking, like, you guys remember a Jump Down, right? That was like a free-for-all kind of thing. That was great fun. Even if you're a solo player, you still had the chance to go in there. Maybe it was quiet, or you could sneak in and get some stuff out. That was kind of cool,
Yep.
you know.
It was.
They had slim chance, yeah.
But
slim
that
chance,
wouldn't
which you get, yeah.
that wouldn't really work with 600 people for that small facility.
It's just 600 single players coming.
Yeah.
So this
Jump
is why
Town
I'm
was
saying
my-
instancing would be, you'd be able to leverage instancing for stuff like this. You're going to have Jump Town-esque things without the madness. I'm sure there are you can bring Jump Town back and have it completely sandboxed. It will be absolute chaos. They will definitely need to
so
make
much
the
fun.
facility much larger than it is, but it doesn't mean you can't do that. But this kind of instancing would allow for more controlled org v org battles. That's kind of the point I'm making.
Yeah, no, I get that. But can you imagine Jump Town, 600 players, everyone there, Idrises, A2s, just no way to land. They just keep on dropping.
No one would get the drugs, man. No one would get the
that would be
drugs.
so much fun. Man.
That was some of the most fun I ever had, though, was at Jump Town. I think that was when we used the tanks in atmosphere and drove out of the ship and just kind of free fall to stealthily land in the distance before coming in.
To be honest, sorry, go ahead. I thought you finished that. Go ahead.
You're like, oh, done. But it was my first time really seeing what big org battle potential is, because people are going to be using different strategies to get their people on the ground without being noticed, and with enough firepower and stuff. So yeah, that's all I got on that.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, Jump Town's actually a really good example in terms of scalability, because it was built for 50 to 100 players, probably built for 50 to begin with. And they did try and scale it up for 100 players when they first launched that. And they added an extra room inside it with a different layout and different ways in, which is really cool. But the disadvantage of Jump Town, and the reason it doesn't scale up well with how the game's going now, is they have to manually build the facility out each time that the player count goes up. It's not really feasible to keep up with it.
I was thinking, sorry, just
Go ahead.
like, I was thinking, because they've been doing Jump Town every couple months, like every 6 months or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if they rework Jump Town, and obviously there's way more people in. So let's say they take a moon somewhere in Pyro, have something similar to Jump Towny, and give it a whole server to just this one tiny moon to make sure this all works, and run it for 2 weeks, so it doesn't cost them too much, so they can pull it off on turn off the server, and just do it every 6 months kind of thing, to give us maybe a little bit more
That's essentially
fun.
this.
No, because the server I'm talking about, it will be still connected to everything else, so all people can come in and go kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not
I didn't say exactly the same.
Instance. Yeah.
But the point of dynamic server meshing is to handle variations in player counts. So with that, you'll have to have more than one server. Because the issue isn't whether it has a dedicated server to itself. Because if all 600 people come onto that server, you've got the same problem you had before. Hit him in the face with logic. Hit him in the face with logic, and he was like, "Damn it!"
Yeah, it's good. No, I think it would work, because a lot of people, not all 600 people, would go for it, because half of the players, and maybe even more, in Star Citizen, they're PvE players, not PvP.
Yeah. Well, see, the reason I'm kind of going to that, I agree with you. Having jump town like that on a separate server, for that you'd have to have dynamic server meshing continuously spooling up and spooling down servers to handle. If all 600 players did come, like I said, if you just kept one server for that event, you would have the exact same issue. So you would need to make sure that this dynamic server meshing would be taking care of that mission all the time, like spooling up and spooling down. For this, my point for this wasn't to take over the role of sandbox org v org things, but to just have instances where you'd have more controlled variations, so you would never have to worry about that happening. And it would also reduce load on the servers overall, not having to spool up so many servers to handle that many players in one concentration, for example. But I do.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
They're just gonna slap DLS 5 over it, and then
Please.
it'll be done.
Don't utter such blasphemous words.
Yes, never in this room.
DLSS 5 will be good as long as it's not used in the way that they showed. is my
Gotta have a starting point, though, no?
Yeah.
No.
I
mean, it's like I would say DLSS 5 is like the flip phone of that technology at this point. They don't really know what's going on. It's you know what I mean? It's at its starting point, as far as like being able to fully mask essentially a graphics.
You want uncanny art, I guess. That's what it was like.
DLSS 5 is a scaling technology for games, Jinx. It's what makes it run a bit better. Basically, the game renders at 1080p, but the scaler brings it up to 4K. Or that is classically what it did. But the latest one, DLSS 5, is a bit of a...
We'll change the graphics and the art. It's like having an AI generator running.
It is a bit of a contention in the gaming industry at the moment. Okay, nerd things, yeah. Good job. You play games, you should know what DLSS is, okay? Gosh. Right, let's return from the blasphemous subject of DLSS 5. It has no place here.
You know what's going to get modded in. Just wait.
I don't think that helps know what DLSS is, Jinx. Jinx knows, yeah.
Yeah, zero, PvP, QV station, 10 max, my work.
Yeah, I think that's mostly what people will be doing anyway.
Yeah, we'll see. All they're just going to be a big fleet trawling hole in Nick's server.
Well, yeah. I know. I think most people will generally fall into that amount of people anyway. It'll probably be around 5v5 QV breaker station. My point was really that you could have more than that there. Wouldn't really be much point because the rewards don't scale to the amount of people. But
time flies. It's already 2:30.
It is. What time do you need to go, Maddie?
The next 5 minutes.
It's okay. Skycrawler can cover you.
Just another man with a glorious beard, so it's okay.
Just you won't even notice the difference.
It's true.
We are the same.
So I think in terms of scalability, I think what matters most is the rewards. And now bye.
Simon says as much as Mormon loves mining.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate mining. I just wake up in cold sweats at night when I have nightmares about it. Oops.
I hate mining.
It's okay, more for me.
Passion.
I like doing the things with people. Like doing it alone, I feel like is a little more difficult for me unless I'm watching Netflix or something. And I get really, I really need something. But usually when there's a group of people are doing it in a mole or something, where there's people are having to communicate with each other, it makes it a lot more enjoyable for me, at least in that regard.
It could be a hilarious time, man. We can all blow up together,
Oh, I'm staying away from you guys. All right. If villains involved, I
If
am
villains involved,
everywhere
gonna
else
blow up.
except where
I
he is.
only kill you when we're mining in the hole after the Hathor, when I can get you all at the same time.
Honestly,
Oh
villain,
my God, that
do
was the
you think
worst.
you'll be any better in a mining ship than on foot? Be honest.
I'm 50% sure that will happen.
Oh, it's Mr. Fast Spiker. That's who said that.
Oh, okay. Mr. Simon Beale. All right, very cool. Yes, I mean, mining sucks. I'm sorry, I don't like it. It's a very cool gameplay loop. It's just so boring that I want to peel my eyes out of my sockets and stamp on them whenever I do
You
it.
guys are dangerous to go hand mining.
Even with the risk of blowing up, maybe they should make more elements blow up. So that way you're always on the edge of your seat, like shit. You know.
Well, you ever been hand mining with these guys? That Carnet.
I don't
mining
need
and
any more
Copper?
help with blowing up.
I have never
It's
blown
enough.
myself up mining, Maddie. I resent that statement. It's a villain that blows people
I didn't
up.
say you. It's just
You said
I
these
forget the group
guys.
these guys. We went in
blaming
with
you for
these
it.
guys. Okay, we went in with these damn guys, and this is all I hear them say. How do you mine? And they hit the laser, and they're like, "I've scrolled the power wheel up. I see my power laser at max, and then I see the rock just glowing super red, more and more, and I'm like, I'm out of here. And then I see all of them blow up. Everybody go down to the ground.
Tale as old as time.
Oh,
Right. Anyway, so back to the
Great.
podcast. I think in terms of scaling, I think having missions of 5 to 10 people is fine, and having these big open sandboxes for orgs is great. And whatever happens in terms of instancing and dynamic server meshing for anything in between that, like me and Villain discussed a moment ago, is great as well. The main issue is the rewards. If anything needs scaling, it's the rewards themselves, which CIG have been terrible at. It's partially because the economy is always in flux in a negative way. So by the time they've implemented a reward for a mission, whether that's the OLPs, ASD, anything like that, by the time they've implemented it, the economy is so out of control, the rewards they're not valuable anymore.
Okay. To be fair, sometimes that is because when they implement it, they don't fix the ways that people cheese it, and then people cheese it into oblivion. Yeah.
That's true. Well, that's why
No,
the
not
economy
Is that what you
the-
mean?
That's the way the economy is. That's why the economy is the way it is at the moment. Oh, the economy.
Yeah.
Another issue with rewards that often happens is if it's an armor set, like the ASD armor, because of the economy again, it becomes worthless because people start selling it to each other, which means people stop engaging with the mission. And also the other problem is when you've got the armor, you stop engaging with the mission for that reason.
Yep.
The
And this
third
is the
issue.
same thing is gonna be with,
Sorry,
sorry.
go ahead. Go.
I'm just saying it's gonna be the same thing with blueprints. They brought a little bit more like fresh air into all the missions, because I've been doing missions I've not been doing for like a year, like the last couple of days. But the second I get all my blueprints, I'm done again with them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
so
want
the helping-
blueprints to degrade, don't you? Or one use.
I don't know what the solution for it is, but like, yeah, I hit all my blueprints and I'm done. I'm gonna move to something else straight away.
Okay.
So they
Yeah,
need
but
to
it's
do
the
something
progression line.
extra.
I don't
Yeah.
know, because I feel like there is a lot of extra to it, because now you gotta, it's because you have your rep and everything. That's the thing. If we all, if this patch we all started with no rep, it'd take you a while to get everything, but you have reputation in all the missions. If you had to start from the beginning, it'd actually take you a while before you actually started getting blueprints. I don't think right now they need to change it, because everybody's reputation is at different levels. So like certain people have like most of the blueprint missions unlocked already because they've maxed out most of their reputation. But like if we were taking it 1.0 standpoint,
That's fair.
and everybody was starting fresh, it would take you a while before you would be like, I'm never touching that mission again. You have to like, because I've been looking at a couple of the missions I have to do, and I have no reputation, and it's going to take me like 2-3 weeks of like doing a bunch of missions. So it has added more hours to gameplay with this new formula of like gaining the blueprints and hunting reputation and figuring out what missions have the blueprints and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fair
that's
enough,
true. Yeah.
I feel like this
the-
guy had Yeah, a ton of armors and weapons and stuff, so that way it's like you get a lot of versatility or in the and the like. So that way you have a reason to keep coming back, even if it's for parts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think this kind of relates to what I was going to say. The third thing that gets in the way of rewards, which I was going to say Wicklow, which is essentially proto crafting, is what came before crafting. They made it so have so much friction between acquiring the stuff and actually getting the rewards that a lot of people disengage with that immediately, and people don't want to engage with that. So I'm hoping crafting will address that, like you say, because of all the blueprints, and it will streamline that a little bit. Kind of, I don't know if Wicklow will stay relevant because of blueprints over time.
I think Wicklow will when it comes to how I read they were talking about exotic metals and exotic materials to refine with to make different things. So I feel like that's where Wicklow will have its place in the future as crafting comes more online. But with that, boys, I gotta go pick up my son.
No,
I love all you Madisokans. Until next week. Thank you for
man.
No, thanks a lot.
So what do you guys think? Because I was thinking about this when the new blueprints were coming out. Instead of going to like Wicklow and getting the armor or something like that, after giving him all the stuff, you get the blueprint for the stuff. So you basically, it's a shop for blueprints.
Yeah.
And you need to go there once. Instead of getting the item, you just get the blueprint for the fancy ones.
I know. I think actually, now that Maddie's mentioned that and Ice has said that, I think it will be kind of special materials, and you'd go to Wicklow to get the specific skins and specific armor. So I think maybe Wicklow does have a place. They just need to fix the friction issue.
Is Wicklow going to be the place where the big org ships and things like that? As far as
for now,
orgs working together to get the ships, because are they going to? I haven't heard anything about it. So are they going to bring in shipbuilding apart from Wicklow? I know they're going to do base building, right? But
sorry, can you repeat that? I didn't quite process what you said.
Sorry. Are they going to bring in shipbuilding of any kind?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so will that kind of remove things from Wicklow, or would Wicklow kind of hold specialty?
I think it's
specific
unique
rewards for things. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, unique items. I says for what you said about blueprints, that would be good, but they would have to be limited run blueprints, so it's not abused.
Yeah, that for Wicklow one, yeah, that's fine. I would not mind. Maybe like 5 or something. I can see maybe Wicklow for ships. Maybe the only place to get maybe a blueprint or actual ship from alien races, maybe something along that line. So maybe him being Banu gets actual Vandal ships or something like that in there, or something like that.
The stealth and military builds are a good incentive as well, to be honest. Just in general, to say maybe they're finely tuned components or whatever. Maybe when sub components come in, where you're able to tune your components a bit more, that will be a thing because you get them pre-tuned from him. It all kind of plays into the next section of the podcast anyway, so shall we just move on? I know it feels like a bit of a waste not having talked about the individual mission structures, but we don't really need to dive into that. I know that I made very pretty info slides, so it's all good. So from what I've been able to kind of think in my own time, there are some key components that are needed for a true MMO or gameplay approach, and that is 1, the player count, and a closely tied dynamic server meshing and instancing, ship roles and armor specialization, a purpose, which a lot of the time we're in dire need of, org tools so that they can bring the organization of activities into the game itself. Because I think a lot of the time right now, people seek outward help, third-party tools, Discord, things like that. And that won't go completely ever. That's always going to be a thing. But bringing it more into the game will definitely be important for the game's future. And then you've got the economy, which there isn't one. There's not really much of an economy right now. It's just a whole jumble of money just being thrown at people. So player count is a very quick one. So let's have a quick look at that. Right now, the player count is between 500 to 700 per shard. It works relatively well. I know, Villain, you like to avoid 600 and above servers in general, or 500 and
Again,
above,
yeah.
or 10 and above. I don't know.
I want my own
Depends
server.
on what you're doing. When we were in Pyro doing the hangar missions and stuff, it was nice to get a server with like 100, 200 people, so you were
Yeah.
less likely to be doing PvP in the halls.
Yeah, that's true. Going on low count shards gave you a low server population when you went to
Yeah.
Pyro, for sure.
That
So
was
right
one of
now-
my favorite activities, though.
Yeah, we should do more of that, to be honest. Like, I don't do too much PvP at the moment. I want to do more. I used to do loads of it, just for the fun of it. So currently it's 500, 700 people. The next step that they're testing is 1,000 to 2,000. The goal, from what I gleaned recently, is about 10,000 people per shard. Maybe a little bit unrealistic, but you know what? That's kind of CIG's
Yeah.
style. So let's not question it. We'll just see how they get on with it. But large server counts equal a social economy. And this is one of the things that I think will really balance the game out, as well as the manuals tweaking that CIG need to do. Having that many people in a shard, and that's including that'll include orgs, solo players, groups. There's going to be this need within the game, or this requirement, to interact with orgs, and it will create a social economy of rivals, alliances, sometimes war, and that is going to be something that emerges organically. I'm sure they'll still organize just wars, but there will be organic expressions of that within the game because of the amount of people that will be playing, if there's that many people in one shard. So that's one thing that I'd say is pretty crucial to the game, is the player count, in order to have that feeling of a living universe. Whether it's feasible or not is another question.
The only thing I'm thinking, like, if there's imagine 10,000 people on the shard, right? And you try and live Levski. There's 700 of us, and sometimes it's like 2 minutes wait in the queue. In 10,000 of us, you're never leaving that place, man. That's it.
Yeah.
You're living there forever now.
We need at least like 5-star systems to begin with to house 5,000 on a shard. So
Yeah.
I do think the game needs a bit more development in terms of space before that's even feasible. But yeah, I agree.
think the bases will evaluate a little bit space as well, because maybe you start spawning in your base at some, like, later on, but I don't know. Still gonna be tight.
Yeah. Sorry, 1 second. And then that, again, like I said, is closely tied to dynamic server meshing and instancing. This is kind of the unofficial road to dynamic server meshing, and we've made a lot of progress over the years. Right now, we're here. Static server meshing, for those
That's the
who...
most green I've seen in a long.
A lot of green. A lot of green. For those who don't know exactly what static server meshing looks like, essentially, there's just one big server, which is called a shard. And that's essentially the parent server. And then it houses smaller
I think you've got the
servers.
photo down there already.
I've got that. It's not very clear.
Okay.
I'm not going to fill the whole box, don't worry. If that's what you're concerned about. So basically, it just houses smaller servers. And how this looks conceptually is each server will house maybe a specific star system or even half a star system. And that will lessen the load on each server for the player count. So if a shard holds 500 people and Stanton is on this one, Pyro's on this one, and Nyx maybe is really popular and is shared between 2 servers, 500 people in total are shared between all these servers. That's essentially how it works. So the shard holds 500 people, but each server will hold as many people as there are in the area that server covers. And if a player moves from one server to another server like this, their data is just transferred to the next server. So you don't even notice you're switching. And that's already in the game, and it's great. It's so good that you don't even know it's there, which is when you know it's working.
Yeah.
When it first came in, however, it was hilarious because someone would shoot a missile across the server borderline and it would go because it'd be a planet server and it'd be rotating and the missile would drop off to the left. What are your thoughts on these two? Because these two kind of go together, the player count and the server meshing. What are you thinking about these?
Yeah. They need to increase them, increase servers basically if they wanted more players. There's no way around it.
Do you think they're going the right way with the tech? Do you think
instancing will help? I think with performance in some of the places.
Instancing
because not enough. It's got.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, just saying because instancing is like you show the whole servers, but then you boot up specific server, and let's say they take about 10 guys from the 500 to a private server, so they've got better performance, and everyone else got better performance because there's less people in the main shard as well.
So basically, instancing is kind of a subset of dynamic server meshing. So if Villain wants to go do the QV breaker station, for example, and he's got 5 friends with him on a completely packed server of 600 people, then it will create a random server that houses that specific area that they're playing in. That isn't accessible, assuming the game's programmed that way, because I think they're going to have 2 different versions. That isn't accessible to other players, and that is just their server to play that mission on. And when they're done and they leave the area, they enter the rest of the dynamic mesh of servers, and then that instance closes. That's essentially how it works. But yeah,
it's still doing it in a way where you don't know you're changing servers. That's that's neat.
Yeah, basically, if it's a mission, you take the mission, that instance is created, and you travel to the instance like a normal server meshing. Or if it's if it's not a mission and it might be an area that you enter, it might be covered by a door, and you go into the door or airlock, it will create the instance. So when you walk out the airlock, you're in another instance. That's essentially 2 ways that they're going to be doing it. That will be, what's it called? Municipal Works, for example, is one example of how they would do it. But yeah, I think
it's going to help.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think there's going to be a big step forward. We're going to see a lot more activity because of it. But one of the biggest problems is this player count issue, because every time they increase the servers or increase the functionality of the servers, they bring the player count up. And
the worst thing I'm thinking, let's say there's 700 people in the server, right? Let's 10% of them, 70 guys go away and say, oh, there's 70 slots left. Put more people into that shard. Oh, and they came back. Even worse now. So I don't know how they're going to do it.
What they need to do is they need to test the limits of an individual server and find out what the baseline number of people for a good functional server is. Not the maximum of people you can put on it. The baseline of what is a good functioning server. A 30 FPS server with no hiccups. What's the baseline? And so that, because sometimes it can make exceptions. Maybe 2 groups want to enter the same server, and it can say, okay, we can go 10 above this baseline, maybe, right? But a baseline of, this is the ideal number, not 600, but like 400, that kind of thing.
But how do you get to 10,000 if you don't continuously stuff as many people as you can the servers to understand like its breaking point after you've made a few changes, you know?
Well, I think that's kind of what I'm saying. You don't really want the servers to get to breaking point, do you? You want to leave a margin there. And when I say,
but don't you? Kinda.
Well, if it goes to breaking point, it'll break
or something, right?
Well, so I mean, like at least maybe like day 1 or like maybe a better way to do it actually be to have scheduled days where they do that and let people be known, and then you get people to actually want to come in and flood the servers to see its capacity and stuff. That way, the rest of the time you are getting, like you said, those nice stable things that keep people actually playing without immediately pissing them off, and they're like, I'm not coming back, and for 3 weeks until this is stable again, which is often sometimes what we do.
Well,
Yeah.
I
But
think
if they were to schedule it, I feel like you'd get a lot more people wanting to see the progress, but you'd have a lot less people pissed off about it, and maybe
Yeah.
even an option to select it in your launcher or something if you're open to be put in those servers.
Well, as an example of kind of what I'm talking about, let's say that a server can fit 1,000 people on before it breaks, just as an example, right?
Mhm.
But maybe at 700 people, it becomes unstable,
Mhm.
right? It starts to become unstable. So 700 is the baseline. And maybe it has a plus or minus 50 people policy for the server. So 700's
Okay.
like the stable server, but it will allow 50 more people in if necessary. It can fit 1,000 people in, but you don't really want it to get to that point, because by that point, I know Villain's avatar's got 2 heads and carrying his gun up his butt, that kind of thing. And maybe this is like the logic each server uses for dynamic server meshing.
Mhm.
So let's say this is at the 700 and more people are entering. At this point, the dynamic server the dynamic server meshing using its logic would have something that says, okay, this server we need to split in half, put 350 on that server and 350 on this server. Still covering the same area. The dynamic server meshing, the way it works is it would create that second server to split that 700 into 350 each, so that more people would be allowed into that area. So no one server ever goes past that point of instability, but it allows.
Gotcha. So
the
you
same
say,
amount
as
of
far as
people in.
the main full server would still be able to do the full number, but you'd be breaking up in the bits to not overwhelm each section.
Yeah.
That's what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Essentially
Gotcha,
like this.
gotcha,
If
okay.
these 2 boxes here represented nicks here, you'd be splitting this box into 2 to serve the maybe 700 people in this area that aren't over here. Just to make sure that it's not burning the servers down. That's essentially how it's planned to work. The reality of it, we don't know yet.
Okay.
We'll see. Yeah, anything to add on that, Villain? I don't know if
No.
but that's essentially how it will work. And the 700 out of 1,000, that's my kind of opinion of how it should work. Because just saying, oh, it can fit 1,000 people, therefore we should shove 1,000 people. It's like those trains in Japan where they've hired those people to
People
push
pushers.
people
You know
pushers
what,
to cram them onto the train.
I am that type of person, even with groceries. You want to do one trip. You don't want to go back multiple times for the bags. You just put them on your arms. You got the circulation just dying in your wrist while you're carrying them up the stairs.
Yeah.
That is very much.
I could do this in one trip. I can do it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so like I said, these 2 components of all gameplay in the game are extremely closely related, and one will always affect the other, and that's also the problem, because that's what CIG does. They raise the number that they can put in a server, and then they just fill those numbers. So you have the same problems you started with, which is quite funny.
And they're like, oh, it's 1,000 works perfectly. Oh, let's put 200 extra.
We'll put a few more in. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
That's
The next.
that's why. Oh, sorry.
No. Go ahead.
I'll say that's why I think they should have some scheduled times where they will push it, because, like, if the goal is 10,000 and it works well at 700, then you're not really knowing how it's going to work at that 1,000 when you're trying to push past it. So, like, you have to be able to shove it, stress it, piss people off in a way. That's what I say. If it's scheduled, piss less people off. Or if you have, like, say, in the launcher, hit a check button so that you're willing to be put into those servers, so they can actually see you, over a long period of time, the stress test of it. So they're like, okay, this is what we need to do now to actually increase that. Because you can say it theoretically can hold 1,000, but we're only running 700. but you really don't really know until you're really forcing people to do that. So it'd be nice, maybe they pick Mondays, but then it'd be really bad for people who are like, damn it, I only play Mondays.
I get 4 hours a week to play this game. Don't do this to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so they do test it like that, but they never do it on live. They've got special.
Okay. Is the special support, and do they use like fake people-ish situations?
No, they've got asking for people to jump in. They give them.
Okay.
And they pop in and do this thing. But like, if that would go on live, people would. Oh my god!
They do they do a version. Man. They do a version of it on live rather.
Okay.
And that's the 500 to 700 server counts. The 700 is the push. The 500 is quite a stable server. And that's why you see variations in the amounts of people the server's allowed in. It is them just trying to see which ones are running more efficiently. But yeah, Villain is right. They do PTUs, tech previews, and either Carty builds where they test the server counts. They did a 2000 server count like 8-9 months ago. It was actually successful for what it was. It was not playable, but there were 2,000 people there. There were 2,000 people on the server. So it was successful in the sense that the server held the people, not so much in the sense that the server worked. But I think they're aiming to get back to 2,000 this year, which is promising, but also concerning. The next key component for org gameplay, I would say, is ship roles and armor specialization. And armor there is FPS armor, even though I haven't depicted it down here. So this is my depiction of, the org fleet, right? When you're doing strike teams, which actually we'll get up now for this part of the discussion because it kind of brings what we're talking about here to life. So on the top right, you can see a key. Red outline is capital heavy armor. Orange is heavy armor. Yellow is medium armor. And no outline is light armor, like light fighters. So when you're constructing a fleet to oppose this, you'll have to take into consideration these things, right? Which means ships have roles within the battle itself. So for example, your anti-fighters will be protected against light fighters, but not necessarily completely against heavy fighters. But heavy fighters still have quite low armor and will be very affected by the anti-fighter. A heavy gunship will be completely protected against maybe heavy fighters, conceivably, definitely light fighters, and probably against anti-fighter ships because they don't have weapons powerful enough to penetrate the hull. So you kind of boxing these ships into specific roles, having to adjust your fleet in response to what the enemy might have with them. You know they're going to have a capital ship, so you need ships that can target turrets, components, and you also need ships that can damage armor and open doors, for example. So in that way, ship roles, and we're already starting to see this in the game because armor like this has just started to be brought in. Ship roles will directly affect how orgs interact through combat. I don't know if you agree with that statement, guys, but I was kind of thinking about it earlier, and this is kind of how that would work out in my head.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would just add to it, like, see the new Rock Breaker mission. It's pretty good, right? But it would be, the designers would have way more leeway if, like, let's say if you're wearing a heavy armor, which you kind of need at least one guy in the team, let's say 4 guys, to go in to take damage if from NPCs. But he cannot jump, or if he jumps, like, jumps a couple millimeters off the ground. So then there are options like jumping puzzle, which you need to jump quite high. So you would need to have a guy in light armor, so he can jump quite high, and maybe do switches. And the third guy, maybe he needs to have a hazmat suit or something to go and turn off radiation or fire or something, go through it. And that would just give, missions more options the designers can think. So kind of do with the same, like you're talking about the fleet compositions. I'm hoping the compositions for like strike teams and like on foot is gonna be a thing as well.
Yeah. That's actually where I was going to go with it. Sorry, you go first, Skycrawler.
I heard rope physics earlier, so instead of giving me a jump puzzle, just get me a really interesting climb with like a grappling hook where I have to scale the side of a wall or something, which would be neat.
Which
You know,
maybe
even
You
if it's
walk-
moving slow, where you're literally just pulling yourself up like you're SWAT or something, you know,
which
or
maybe you
know,
couldn't do in heavy armor, right?
maybe you got to have a better wire, and you have to craft it yourself and stuff with a full pulley or something, which would be interesting. But then I can't stop there. I'm like, okay, give me a rope that I can shoot onto someone else's capital ship and pull myself in full combat in space. You know,
He's really gone for this rope tech thing, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's all in on the rope.
You guys have been moving on to other things, and this entire time I was thinking like, what can I use that rope for?
Go ahead, Villain. Sorry. Okay.
When he mentioned the rope puzzle, I was like, okay, you walk into this room, you know, bullets are shooting, and there's a guy. Here you go. There's a rope knot. Untie it. That's your puzzle. And you just sit there, just try to fix it. That's my head went straight into that kind of puzzle.
You know, if they add VR implementation, maybe that is the puzzle.
Yeah. Right. So actually, this system that we talked about with ships works exactly for the same reason that Villain was talking about as well.
Yeah.
So, kind of like heavy armor, of course, would be thick armor.
Taking aggro.
Take aggro. Weapon handling for heavy weapons. Whereas on the other side of things, in light armor, which would maybe be for scouting or climbing ropes, for example.
Yeah.
Being able to run up steep terrain, which I feel like that would be really useful, especially for scouting. You know,
yes.
But to be fair, I scout in heavy armor.
Yes, you do.
That's how I.
But you won't be able to do that anymore because the signature will be too high.
I know. That's fine. I don't mind. I've got different style of scouting.
And then you've also got to think about specializations specifically. So in the same way that armor balances FPS armors, so does gameplay loops. So for example, medical gameplay is too OP right now. Everyone can use the med gun. There is no such thing as a medic. There is many medics. Self-medication. It's just Villain walking through your SD facility.
You know, healthcare is just so good in the future. It's as easy as point and click.
Yeah. Yeah. So the medical gameplay needs to become a speciality. So whether that is the suit communicating with the device to give the specific information you need to treat someone, a restriction on certification to use a device, I don't really know. That's CIG's business. But specialization of the armor itself should directly affect how you use it, what you can do effectively, and how vulnerable you are in specific situations. So if you're a medic, you're not going to run into an ASD facility or do the worm and run ahead of your team because you're not going to have the protection you need. You're going to hang behind your team. Your tank or your thick armor, your heavy armor person is going to be at the front, and your medium to light armors are going to be behind him, covering him as he pushes forward. That's how you do that. So they need to bring all the armor in and the specialization. But these kind of considerations, whether it's on foot or in ships, is what we want, I think, for most Star Citizen. That's kind of the dream, isn't it? To have these matchups. Let's have a quick look at.
It'd be really interesting. Oh,
yeah, no, go ahead.
It'd be really interesting to see it in practice, because of course blocking or being in formation and things like that to actually do protections for your capital ships or your smaller ships and things like that. Makes sense in the concept, but then you're of course on your 2D monitor to a degree and trying to stay within. I feel like that's going to really amp up the some of the potential training you may have to do with certain groups, so you know how each other flies, speeds, things like that. So you are with each other. Otherwise, you might have people that are especially in the smaller ships, that are out and about, or end up being there is really no north or south in space, but way under you versus above you, or in line, and things like that.
Formation etiquette, basically. Yeah.
Which. would be neat if they added maybe some indicators. Maybe you link up and then some indicators on your HUD for your pilot or something, like with a line, so you can see kind of where you are to the people next to you. Maybe it doesn't have to be for everyone, but maybe the people next to you are closest. That way, that's all it's reading.
Yeah,
That's
I think
neat.
in general, flight formations are always on an x-axis to avoid flying into each other. So, and it's usually in a V shape as well of some form. You'll have the captain or whatever rank he may be kind of at the point of that spear, and the pilots behind him take the cue from that pilot. But I think maybe some form of, I guess that's holo maps, isn't it, really, on the ship, holo globes.
I feel like those are a little bit harder, like in practice, to read though. Like I feel like it's a lot easier to follow two lines that are more of a level than is this 3D rendering, which is good for situational awareness as far as like more big picture.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, so you mean like feedback of where your squad
Yeah.
is?
Yeah. Just even if it's of just the people right next to you or something, that way it's not too complicated. Yeah.
I guess so, but you could also trust the people behind you to not fly into you, but that might be a bit much to ask, I guess.
I mean,
shift forward, man. That's all you need.
Okay,
forward
actually,
and out of study. 350 kilometers per hour.
Now that villains spoke, I agree with you. We need that, and we need that in the game.
No, what are you talking about? If we're all flying straight, no one's gonna hit each other. Done.
That's not true.
Or are you going straight at the same speed? You accidentally hit your joystick. How do you put yourself back on track if you're, what if you got stick drift? You just really need just some kind of indicator that just says I'm level, I'm with where I'm supposed to be, generally.
Okay.
When you're doing 2D, like you need something that gives you a very easy indicator.
Just get VR, man. Jeez.
Well, I do. I'm talking about for you guys, I got the
you peasants.
I can visualize it in my mind's eye where people are. All right, so this is the strike team. I'm just going to play the whole video because I think it just covers everything basically. But this is where these considerations of armor types and ship roles come in, and this is coming in really soon. Now, I'm not saying ship roles are perfect right now because armor is not the only thing they need to address. Let's be honest. But it's a really good start, and it's really showing that kind of emerging in the game. Let's give it a go. If you need me to pause it, so you want to comment on something, just raise your hand. No, just say. New quantum system carrot being dangled.
Of what this new faction is really doing in the Nyx system.
They've sent a capital ship to check out a station and run into more than they can take care of themselves.
Unfortunately, that team came under attack and members of their groups were taken hostage. Now they've reached out to Intersec, who've reached out to you to help recover the pilot. Of course, it's unwise to do this alone, so you'll need to put a team together to attack the station.
When you arrive, you will have this big asteroid, kind of broken asteroid, and on this you will have this base where you will find 3 big arms. You will see in the middle, you will have this big energy core. Everything here has a purpose. It's not just for the show, just something nice to see.
You'll see a People's Alliance-owned Idris that's just on the outside, and it's going to be getting harassed by this unknown faction that you have met before.
So your first objective here is to clear out the ships. There'll be waves of these ships, so this is where you want your light or your medium or your heavy fighters, whichever playstyle you prefer.
Just saw a problem with this already. There was a light fighter attacking a Redeemer right there. I'm pretty sure the Redeemer has armor to stop that from happening. But that's one of the considerations you'll need to start making. So, but that's kind of my point. These are considerations that we don't have to make. Actually, we do now, but we didn't have to make until 4.7.
So while one part of your group is dealing with the fighters, now it's time to actually assault the station.
This station has been outfitted to resist all of the obvious way of attacks.
Somehow they've incorporated Vanduul capital ship killing turrets.
Love the
turrets
explanation of
ignore
somehow.
fighters, and they have the firepower to destroy even the biggest capital ships.
Your Polaris and your Idris, if you get it close, it will get shredded. The idea of these is so we can sort of make it so we can mix up that ship combat, and not everyone can just bring the biggest ship and win just because they have the biggest ship.
You have to send out your best pilots to navigate the superstructure and take down anything that may damage your bigger ships. So at this point you're thinking, destroy the turrets, but it's not that easy. This turret has shields that you've never seen before. It won't take any kind of damage. Your missiles won't do anything, your lasers won't do anything, your ballistics won't do anything to them. But like everything, they do have a weakness. You have to cut the power to their shields. To do that, that actually brings you to your first objective, the power relays.
So the exterior has a number of power relays that are holding the doors closed so that you can't get in.
You have to find them, you have to target them, and you have to destroy them. But it may not be as easy as it seems.
Here's our first wrinkle. The power relays have their own shields that are resistant to energy-based attacks.
We know how much you like using laser repeaters, but so
Just want to comment on this part. The reference to laser-resistant shields, kind of hoping they add to the versatility of shields in the future. We have different types of shields. So shields that are resistant to lasers, but terrible against ballistics, which they already are, of course. Or shields
I think a torpedo should be able to do it, Dan.
No, a shield that doesn't block anything except torpedoes. But like different types of shields that you can apply to your ship. So maybe distortion resistant shields might be really good if you're trying to avoid being pirated. You know, that kind
I
of thing.
wonder if how they would keep one single one from becoming the meta, which I guess the meta would really depend on.
It'd be kind
I
of
guess the most played loop, probably,
What-
right?
You always can do, like, let's say level 1 tier 1 shield, it's pretty powerful and good, right? But then scales very slowly up, so tier 2 and 3, and then the other one was just kind of not that great on tier 1, but it gets better, way better on tier 2 and tier 3,
Yeah.
tier 3. So they can do it that way, and maybe if it's really, really powerful, maybe drains a lot of power, right? So you don't take a lot of damage, but then you've got no more power for anything else.
Gotcha. So that maybe make it more useful to use for, say, hauling, because you need all that
Yeah.
shield, and then you would be more likely to bring people to actually protect you with the actual weapons and their different types of
Yeah.
shield. I see what you're saying. I 100% agree. Good point.
It's also fit for purpose considerations. So, for example, in a fleet battle, if you're protecting a capital ship, you want ballistic resistant shields because the enemy might employ ballistics to get through shields to take care of turrets. So you can fight that enemy knowing that you're resistant to ballistics. Whereas if you're on the front line, you might want laser resistant shields because they're going to be trying to get rid of your shields as soon as possible, aren't they? So there's that as well. So there's lots of considerations. It adds a lot of depth to it. So the tier system would work good for on both.
It's going to be
occasions.
fun.
Yeah.
do these guys.
Capital ship can't get close enough because of the turrets.
So ships with explosive or ballistic ordnance will be needed here. That's torpedo
No
ships
shield
like the
effects there, not happy about
Retaliator
it.
or Gladiator, or even another fighter with ballistics loadout. That's going to take you a while.
Boom.
Once the power relays have been taken down, the station opens up.
And this is where things get really cool.
Now it's time for you to fly your ship inside the station.
Yeah, you, in your ship, fly into the superstructure of this station.
How cool is that?
I feel like this is a proud dad moment. Thank you, Jared.
We're just going to call it what it is. It's a trench run.
Trench run.
So as you enter the structure, you'll see cooling units along the sides that you'll need
How many lives will be lost on the first attempt of this?
to take out.
Man, I cannot wait. This is the first. This is the most
Three arms to the station that have these
thing I'm
structures.
looking
You'll
forward
fly
this year.
into one, and
This
then there'll be
mission.
a core in the
Yeah.
I
center,
have the
and then
perfect
you
name
out
for
of
this
the
mission.
trench.
I just have to, get
You're
that one little
either gonna
photon
do it
torpedo with
multiple
those little
times.
holes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
At this point, the core is still protected, so these
I
are
was
essentially
made
straight
for
from
this.
There are objects to avoid. You're going to have to be able to dodge. You're going to have to move quickly. You need an agile ship.
Because the shield generator that you're targeting is emitting lots of distortion damage.
So once the cooling units are out, that exposes the core to overheat, which means that you can attack it from the inside.
All of them?
and
All of
also
what,
from
Darth?
Exhaust ports on the outside of the station. This core is armored and just takes a whole lot of damage.
Ow. Burned my eyes.
Once the power core goes down, the turrets come down, and then the capital ships can get closer. Why is that important? Because during all of this, you spend a lot of ammo and munitions and ballistics, and
Oh,
you're
got
gonna
you.
pop up.
Yeah.
This is where we're gonna get our new feature in: ship hangar refueling and rearming. You're gonna be able to land in the hangar.
This is coming in 4.8.
and be able to use the same
Real
interface
close
as
now.
you are right now at stations to refuel and rearm.
It's specifically for ships like the Idris and the Polaris and other ships that are designed to have other ships land inside them.
Of course, it'll be more than just those two ships, and you'll find out more once we get closer to release. But this is a really important feature that we're really excited to get out.
If you're not bringing your own Idris, the People's Alliance has a Idris there that can provide a safe port in a storm, allow you to set back up and head back out.
And it's a good thing that you've rearmed and refueled too, because now another group of ships is coming to attack the People's
That
Alliance.
man really enjoys his job. He's really into it.
I hope there is a /command that can allow you to do that, so you can actually
Well, the
potentially
fighters
have
are
someone be
protecting
like,
the
"You
Idris.
park here."
What's happening at the
Exactly.
station? Well, that's where the dropships come in.
Now you've got
That
to
kind of
take
thing.
a fire team in. You've got to land. You've got to fight through an onslaught of FPS enemies that belong to this unknown faction, and you've got to open a hangar door which will allow you to release captives from the station.
NPC transport, I guess, kind of.
After you've opened the doors and that person's taken off, you
Pick up
just
the
wanna make
dead
sure they
bodies
get to
from
safety.
there. Just put them on the ship.
That's not going to work when it first comes in.
All of this
The
sounds
NPC's just going to
simple,
stand there
but
and
there's
not get on the
additional
ship.
complication.
So up until this point, it's just been you versus the enemies in the station. But the enemies in the station have their own enemies.
The Van Duel neighbors who
Bye, Fred.
don't like these guys for some reason will come in and wreak havoc on everything.
And they're not going to discriminate between you and the station. They're out for blood. When you alert the Van Duel by destroying the power core that the station's now vulnerable, you're on a time limit. Van Duel are coming, they're going to come hard, they're going to keep coming, you're going to have one hell of a fight.
You didn't notice until just now. What? Ah, yes, the teaser.
We all know we don't notice things until we've had our coffee.
Yeah.
So, that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. All the considerations that they were mentioning doesn't even take into account the armor that we were talking about before. There's even more considerations that you would take into account for this specific mission. We think it's coming in 4.8. Not entirely sure. We'll have to see. But that
Man, this looks
applied-
so good.
so good. Yeah. And I think this is a Hunter, this ship that's in the background. This is
Yeah,
the-
Hunter. Size of a javelin. That's basically equivalent to the javelin on our side.
Oh, okay. Do you reckon it's going to have an interior?
No.
No, why not?
No, I
gonna fight-
doubt it.
They need to put an interior. It would be sad if they didn't have one. That's not
It
what
would be
I wanted to do.
amazing because if this got interior, I'm boarding it straight away.
Yeah,
Like
you're just gonna
screw the mission. I'm just boarding it straight away and just.
Or
trying to
even say after the mission. I don't know what they're gonna do as far as like once the mission is over, if there'll just be like no enemies or respawn time or whatever. You know, maybe you can pull off some of those weapons or something, and then add them
No,
to
I
your
want a whole
gladius.
ship.
Oh, you
want
just
a
want
whole
the ship.
ship.
any Vandal that faces us in combat is a Van Fool. You were right the first
Yeah.
time. Okay, Van Fool is correct.
Maybe rare. What do you call? Salvaging material off the ships or something.
Yeah,
would be neat.
that'd be really cool.
That would be good. Yeah.
Villain would just show up in a salvage ship for the mission, just wait for us to be done, and be like,
"Oh, come here, you guys! You missed one. You missed one. Get that one as well."
Isn't that pretty much what we did for the Defeat the Polaris mission? We just kind of accept it and then not ever go.
Pretty much, yeah. So the next key component of org gameplay is purpose, which at the moment, and feel free to disagree with me, we severely lack right now. There's not really much purpose in terms of the org at the moment.
Yeah, it kind of started maybe with a little bit with crafting now, so there's a little bit reason to go and get stuff, right?
Yeah.
Instead of the money.
But again, you spoke a while ago about getting to a point where you've already got all the blueprints and not needing to repeat missions.
Yeah.
So we're talking about end game. You've got your org, you've built your space station. So that's things like building your first Bengal carrier, creating a space station where your org lives, and you have your different divisions maybe inhabiting each node of the space station. And then the long-term goal. Sorry?
Did not. Say just for back to the blueprints before you move on there.
Mm-hmm.
When you get the organ and stuff all set up, you would have more reason to actually go to the places to continue building your arsenal. So you'll continuously have weapons and stuff to potentially support your org.
But once
I would say that would give you a reason to come back.
Yeah, I mean, once your org has a crafter and that crafter has the blueprints, you don't need to go back to those places to then get the blueprints. You would
maybe not the blueprints themselves, but the materials. Yeah, if they were
to mine and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if they make them location specific like that, then you kind of can't get around going back and doing those missions. As long as the missions are fun and the mining is fun, they make it some of them they don't really get that boring as long as they're fun loops, right?
Yeah.
So as long as they you have a reason to go back, blueprints done, but you still need the materials to then craft those blueprints. That can still create that one functionality, and then more reason to continue building that arsenal, so you're not missing out on weapons for a specific mission, or just people coming in to make sure you're giving them what they need, etc.
Yeah.
So didn't mean to go off on a long tangent.
That's exactly why you're here, is to go off on long waffling tangents. You be free, my friend. But you're absolutely right. I mean, when I said the purpose isn't there, I mean it's not there now. It's definitely something that can be addressed and will be addressed going forward.
Yeah.
I was about to go move on, but I think you have something to say, don't you, Villain?
Oh, so yeah, I was just thinking building up rep, and 2, I was hoping let's say do that mission, whatever mission, and you've got all the normal blueprints you're getting from them, and there's 0.1% chance you're gonna get this legendary or something wild thing, right?
Yeah.
So then it will give you maybe a reason every so often. I'm gonna maybe go out, do this mission once. Maybe I'll get it, maybe that kind of thing. Maybe that will be the way forward.
Yeah. Okay.
As well.
I think another thing as well, in terms of end game, you've done everything. It becomes this leadership battle, as they described in 2954 CitizenCon. And that's this need to earn credits to have the shield relays cover your base, so that you're the de facto, as quoting from Richard Tyra, you're the de facto leader of that system because you have that shielding. You're essentially protected from org invasion, essentially. So that is a constant ongoing purpose that I hope to see actually as a reality in the game. because it seems like it'd be extremely difficult to implement. Like,
Yeah,
it seems like a lot of moving parts. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Like that's going to really make it to where there's going to be specific orgs that are controlling specific parts of the economy.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that's actually hopefully thing.
Well,
I was
this
just
little bit
saying,
we'll
I
go later
cannot.
on. Go ahead.
I cannot wait for being able to raid out people bases. I think this is gonna be my favorite pastime. Just bomb it down to oblivion after you steal everything. And I aware this can happen to us.
Yeah.
yeah, I'll be scouting. Don't worry, it's fine.
You mean like this?
Well, more
right?
so just let me get into their base and then kind of pull some fuses out, sabotage missions maybe. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. We'll go down to the engineering section of a space station, infiltrate, and just take it apart. So this is what happens in Villain's brain whenever he's on the game. Yes, Jinx, murder hobos, but we'll be a whole station full of murder hobos. This is kind of what you have in your mind, Villain, yeah?
Yeah. Would be so good.
All very conceptual, but if they manage it, if they actually achieve it, then that'll be amazing. There's a lot of ifs.
Don't worry, we will be better than these guys on the video.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're doing a pretty good job, to be honest, Villain.
We'll be better. Don't worry.
Right, let's move on. So this is going to be a very quick coverage. It's just org tools. I think we spoke about this earlier, and just bringing things into the game more. And that's, I think, the most important feature. As good as all this stuff is, the communication and the comms and stuff, going to be this: having an org and putting events on the calendar. So, for example, on the first of the month, the supply run, maybe run an event to get all the crafting materials into the station. And then maybe later in the month, it would be crafting supply. So the crafting master in the org by the middle of the month has to have crafted a supply for the org and provide it to different divisions within the org and that kind of thing. So I think this is going to be the most useful tool. I don't know what your thoughts on that are, guys, but as good as the other ones are, this is going to be pretty cool.
I want them all.
I like it being in game. But I'm still one for the simple things. I'm looking forward to the in-game communications working in here and a robotic captain's voice being go to your stations. Or whatever.
Yeah. Just having all work perfectly would be great.
Everything work. That would be great. Well,
this dev's giving himself money, cheating. But this is all cool. I think this is orgs. You can search orgs and request to join. You can post your org on there. But all this is going to be.
They allow you to create your own decals?
Eventually. Yeah, not now.
They mentioned, yeah.
Be able to decorate your space station and your ships with them. We actually spoke about that in a recent podcast, didn't we? In theory crafting on how they would actually manage it. But yeah. Now, as good as all these ones are, your purpose, your org tools, ship roles, dynamic server meshing, player count, everything kind of depends on this. This is kind of the foundational component. Because without this, the game doesn't have any coherency. Now, in terms of the dynamic economy, that's going to be kind of like the programmed in economy, which is like how space stations decide how much of a material they have versus a planet versus a system, But I kind of divided the actual player-driven part of the economy into 4 sections, which is resources, crafting, base building, and P2P economy. This is something that I've come up with. If you want to add to it, feel free. But my kind of idea of this is these 4 components are driven completely by players and all affect the dynamic economy of the game when it comes in.
No,
So, for example, yeah, so I think when players trade with each other and mine and sell and buy and whatever, that will always have a knock-on effect on the economy. The density of players building bases within an area will affect the economy. Crafting, the need to get materials, whether they buy them or mine them, will affect the economy. So it's all kind of it's all going to affect each other, and they need to make sure it works correctly. So not everyone's a billionaire anymore. But the way that I'd see it scaling, I've got some examples here. You've got solo player, goals, small base, crafting gear, a career, whatever that career might be, and trading. A group may have medium base, crafting shared gear. So maybe one of us decided to be the crafter of the group. Inter-career development. So maybe I'm the bounty hunter, Villain's the salvager, Skycrawler is the stripper.
I am the stripper.
And then expanded trading. So because we've got a group together, we can get more stuff together to sell in larger amounts. Small org might be a large base and satellite bases, like your main base in Stanton, but you have satellite bases in Pyro. Career chains, mining to salvage, then to crafting, then to trading, and org supply, and war chest. So it's how the different areas of your org interact with each other, essentially. So a group of bounty hunters might be supplied by the crafting people in the org. Then a large org, it might work out more like an extra large base, satellite bases, and space stations. Divisional management and trade. So the salvage division may need to supply other divisions with cargo and materials, as would the mining division. Trading an org supply and a war chest, like the other org. And then with large orgs, you'd have then inter-org trading. Oh, I've moved on from small org already, haven't I? You got inter-org trading, alliances, and rivalries. And with large orgs, it would be extra large bases, satellite space stations, divisional management, career chains, and inter-org trading, alliances, rivalries, and system leadership. At that point, you'd be contending for leadership of a system and essentially driving the economy in that area, because you'd be like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think Skycrawler is quite a good stripper. He's got the beard.
I am.
His skill, it's just on
I
a
have
different level.
charisma, you know.
In some circles, they call him Malud Floor Crawler, but you know. No, I'm kidding. We can take turns, I guess.
You know what? When I'm on the floor, I don't crawl. I just kind of wiggle a little bit, you know.
God,
I'm
all right.
35. No, the knees aren't what they used to be.
But that's kind of like what I've been able to piece together for the economy and how it might interact and work. Do you have any thoughts? I mean, all of this kind of interacts with mission and org gameplay in the verse. So yeah, but yeah, that's kind of what
I
I've
think it
been
all
able
makes
to put
sense. The thing I keep thinking back is the only I don't know how my brain works. I immediately think of other games.
Oh yeah, I was going with the ropes.
It's going
Yeah,
back to
well,
the
let's
ropes.
talk about the rope economy, and it's more so I need the support for when I am being the stripper, so that
Yeah,
I
of
don't actually
course.
land on my knees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got it. Carry on, sorry.
When I keep when I think about these things, my immediate thing is to think about other games and that have tried to do economies or tried to, I don't know, be ambitious, or in this case that I'm going to be saying at least at the beginning, people thought was rather lazy. Was Fallout 76, where at the beginning there's no NPCs, all missions are just based on little computer things, and they're like, you're the NPCs, it's all hinges on you guys, essentially.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work. People, you'd have to have like trade posts, things like that, but you didn't have any really buy into the game, into like the function stuff to actually make people want to make that work. I do think they're doing a good job here. They're trying to make the actual game loops fun enough, complicated enough to get people really invested. But if it is successful, it's going to be amazing. If not, you are depending on people to kind of function and in a way kind of follow the game rules and logic and stuff. We're in a world where you're going to have a lot of people still doing everything they can to cheese things, so I hope they do enough to get people to really buy into like all the other things, so there isn't just a bunch of unused features and unused things that just don't affect the economy or affect the economy in a negative way, because people just don't want to touch them. Like people
So,
at the beginning of Fallout 76 just did not want to touch the game anymore. So
like in this game, I think there's gonna be like people don't want to do everything, which I'm 100% sure. Like, if I can avoid mining, I would do it. But basically,
for sure, but
Yeah.
for people that
Yeah.
like them though, you need to at least have it be effective for the people that like it. At least something where there's not going to be something that nobody likes. Hopefully, you need to have your, just like Star Citizen. That's not going to be a game for everyone, though. At this point in the future and stuff, I feel like you could almost get any type of game from Star Citizen. You want mining simulator, go do that. You know what I mean? But yeah, as long as there's nothing that just nobody wants to do, because you have to have that engagement to make sure that it's all successful.
So to comment on something you said about people following the rules, I knew that this thing I put on the screen, the villain's just going to hate. Death of a Spaceman. We spoke about it last week. That is going to make people
go again.
We're not going to get into the debate, our ongoing eternal debate. But this is just in support of what Malud Skycrawler said, and that is in terms of following the rules and being citizens and considering your actions. Death of a Spaceman will play a huge role in that, assuming they get it right. We're not going to talk about the debate between me and Villain. We have very opposing ideas on this.
No, let's not.
We're not going to go there again.
Because you can say within the game world, be a rule breaker, say be pirates or whatever, but just not breaking the system rules as at a functional level. You're
okay,
doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's so hard to make a game that you can't break, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I think they just got to invest a lot in the kind of the testing and then the security aspect of it and stuff. I'm just hoping it not to name names of games, but a certain other game that has a full-on culture of exploiters and stuff that just kind of ruined the base. To it, and then the developers are just kind of like, well, we already got our $1 billion. You hope that's not the case with Star Citizen.
What do you mean? So in relation to mission scaling and org gameplay, I think from what we've discussed, and again, if you disagree with me, I'm fine with that. Missions will only scale to a point unless they implement either Villain's idea of having dynamic server meshing address a jump town size mission where it's the whole server, or an instanced kind of PvP mission where you'd fill slots in a server. The actual mission scaling is quite limited in comparison to a whole org, and the actual org gameplay may come from an organic development of org relationships, which is rivalries, alliances, wars, things like that. And so maybe missions don't need to necessarily always scale to an org. It'd be nice to have some missions that do, but maybe that isn't.
That's
needed.
the problem. There's no missions for orgs right now at all. There is missions for a couple groups of 6 to 10 maybe max.
Yeah,
and there's no really org missions.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
it's gonna
go ahead.
To have a if we're going to go into the whole the organic thing as far as wars, things like that, you're almost going to have a large enough org that you have people that have different lives where they're playing various different days, so that you don't have, say, a group of 30 people that only play Saturday. You come back next Saturday, you don't got a base anymore.
Sorry,
if it's anything
I can't do a war that day. Can we move it to Sunday? Is that okay?
Yeah. So it's really going to depend on growing the orgs and having enough people that maybe not always play together, but play throughout the week, so that way you're you're not always getting caught with your pants down all the time and having to rebuild consistently and stuff. So it's really going to depend on growth. You know, it's like Netflix. You know, the subscriptions to your org to be able to make sure it's maintained well.
I think a counter to that I'd have is that large orgs won't be particularly interested in raiding small org spaces because they'll have all the stuff they already have.
Middle time though, right? Or you'll have people that have players like Villain who just want to go and watch the world burn.
Okay, so, which I understand what you're saying, right? But if I had like, let's say 200 people org, right, like on the bigger side, and I actually managed to herd them together to make a mission, I would just go on the planet. Oh god, there is a base. Take this one. There is a base. We're gonna take this, and just go and like scoop all the bases on the planet in one go.
So what you're saying is you'd be a Viking.
No, I would be efficient CEO of moving.
Or American at this point.
People.
American. But okay.
See,
I'd say obviously when this all first comes in, there is going to be a time.
Carnage.
There's going to be a time where people will just go around murking each other. But let's just say the dust settles after the first year. And that organic...
They'll have a name for it. They'll be like, "This was the Chaos Wars." You know, it only it only lasted that time because that was the transitional phase. You know, continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Catastrophic transition. That's what we'll call it.
Yeah.
What I was saying. So after the dust settles, that will be less common, and when that social economy is built, when it becomes an established thing that becomes an etiquette, which an etiquette will form and does so in many games like World of Warcraft. There is an etiquette to how you play, for example. There are thousands of people that play that game, and that's the reason there's an etiquette. There's an agreed behavior, a pattern of behavior that you follow, especially in raids and things like that. And I think a similar thing will happen in Star Citizen, assuming that it has the right amount of players playing and as time goes on. So in that context, I understand what you're saying, Villain. Yes, I can imagine you pillaging the universe, definitely. But in the scenario where the dust has settled and etiquettes have formed, I do feel that social economy and the financial economy will balance itself. Large orgs aren't going to want to raid a small org because they won't have things that are valuable to them. In fact, if a large org has reached that point and the end game goal, it will literally be supplying their base, keeping things going, and attending to rivalries that they may have formed over the years. And maybe there's a war over bloom for a material. But yes, there will be an adjustment period. Yeah, sorry.
Will you be able to take people's bases?
No, the claim it's not transferable. You can
so if you were to just come in and demolish someone in their space station, you can't just take it over or anything like that. That would be a really interesting element, though, because then you could essentially grow your org and grow without having to start from scratch every time with a base.
You could bully them into moving.
In Pyro, you don't get claims. Sorry.
You can bully them into moving.
Like, this is mine now.
Yeah.
So I mean, technically, maybe you probably, I don't know if you have access to their stores or anything like that, or if anyone who's on the base will have access or not. But that if it's there in real time and you can bully them out, and then technically you could potentially hold it for a while or something like that. Then that was what I was just thinking of a villain's gameplay style, because then it's not materials that they need, it's territory.
Yeah,
it's less
which
of a
would
gameplay
be an
style,
economy of itself,
more of a philosophy that he lives by.
Yeah. So when they're gonna be building this, I'm just hoping for when you decide to actually go and attack base. I want it, if you mess it up, it needs to cost you arm and a leg. So you think twice before you kind of start like pillaging everyone. Because if you like right now, let's say you take a ship, you fly in, you die, you just click, get new ship with like peanuts, and you go back out again. The same like torpedoes, you always get torps back. So I'm hoping at the point when we're gonna be there, so like every torp you need to build yourself, and that took you 45 minutes to make one, and you're
But
like,
also
oh,
this.
I better hit with this one.
But
Kind of
also
thing,
this.
so.
I just realized I
Oh
put
yeah,
Spaceman
that's
instead of
the yeah.
Spaceman. Like the basement of
You
the.
just live in the basement, you know, live in your mother's basement.
That's a new term. We've coined it, Spaceman. Death of a Spaceman will be part of that villain, but I know your feelings on it. But I do agree as well the time it takes to craft things and to get things together, and also I think the arm and the leg may also be the rivalry that you create that day. the day that you raid someone's base is the day that rivalry begins. Let's be honest. So there's also that consideration to make. If you're attacking a base that's clearly a military base, is aimed around combat, you might be a bit more like, maybe not.
And it's like you're not even going looking for the base; it's just your neighbor straight across the street, straight away.
You raid their base, then you land, and you just look at them in the eye. Hey.
Oh, what happened? Like after, oh, you guys got raided? No way!
I just saw this Gladius. It just came in and landed and just took all your crap. I just don't know. But yeah, so I think this is kind of where we're going to end it. I think, as we said, there's a lot missing in terms of missions for orgs, but also it's not org gameplay isn't necessarily entirely dependent on missions. So we should probably get some missions for orgs, but in terms of end game, it will be the interaction between orgs that creates that gameplay as well. So do we need missions for orgs? Yes. Do we need tons of missions for orgs? Maybe not. Maybe the orgs versus orgs will happen naturally.
I would say there's at least at the beginning during the building process and stuff, they should have quite a few of them just for incentivizing, you know.
Yeah.
But then it'd be missions. It could be small missions within the org. Say, maybe even custom ones. Say, you know, your org needs this specific material. Then the person who's running the base can put a job board or something. Be like,
creating
need this material.
Contracts within
get
the org.
paid.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that because then you can there you as you said, the orgs themselves would still be building the org missions, but it would be very specific to what they need, and more of a collecting or attacks, or maybe it's like, oh, we need you to go mess with this one, or defeat 2 fighters or something. You just want to stoke the fire between 2 organizations or something, but you can just create your own
things are a
bits,
bit
which would
too
be a
quiet.
mission
I want
away.
you to go to this org that has this Bengal, and I want you to just spray paint some symbol on the back of it.
Yeah, or I want you to somehow get your fighter into their elevator lobby.
Well, they will
Like,
have
you
those
do
flight
on
decks,
stage.
so that is feasible. If you can somehow sneak onto a flight deck of a station and hack into the elevator and get up there, that'd be cool. Anyway,
Yeah. Or like you say, sabotage missions, if they were to be able to do it, would be neat. Because just imagine, someone they EV in, go in, and then just pull some, spark plugs and stuff that stops crafting, and then the people got to, put them back in for the crafting, because maybe you're trying to limit the amount of materials or missiles that this organization is making or something,
Yeah.
That
And
way you have a strategic advantage, which would be neat, and I feel like not as hard to implement.
I think that's actually something you could probably do even if they hadn't designed it that way, to be honest.
Yeah, because you can pull people's spark plugs in their ship at this point, right?
Yeah, you could go around the base pulling out fuses all over the place.
Yeah,
you could sound like one person and just villain
What is it?
frolicking through the base, just yoink, yoink,
What is
yoink.
Is that not what happened? We were flying, me, you, and Johnny was pulling
pulled all my fuses out.
fuses from your ship.
Luckily, it doesn't shut the
say
ship
for instance,
down,
like
but-
the ultimate win for that is if you're somehow able to, like, what's that game where it was like the weird colored, like red, blue, red, and Among Us, it's kind of like you did it, you're the one.
Yeah.
Imagine, you're on the base and you're pulling all the plugs, and the end thing is kind of like if you get all the plugs in the base, then maybe they can't even pull their ships out, and then you win or something. I feel
Yeah.
like those would just be interesting dynamics that would be cool to play with.
I just had an idea for like a org mission. It would be PvE kind of thing, right? But basically you take the mission and it tells you like how many people, 5, 10, 15 or something, and you jump. It's like to a different system like Vega or something. It's a instance, and it's basically like waves of Vandul coming in, but you just need to hold on for like 90 minutes, and you can use only the stuff you brought with you, which would mean the crafters would need to craft all the missiles, torpedoes, and you need to load them in and then go out and just try and hold off. I would think that could be fun. Yeah.
Thanks.
And then if you lose a ship with all this stuff on, that's a big loss. Your Idris or something goes down with all the stuff on it. We start like spend it a week to craft. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, we-
I think we should draw it to a close now because we are nearly
Yeah.
at the 3-hour mark. I feel like we've spoken a lot and covered a lot of things, and I think people have probably reached their limit at this point.
I don't know. We got 6 people now.
Yeah. But it's been a pleasure having you on, Skycrawler. Thank you very much for coming. It's nice to have
Thanks for
a
having me.
fresh view of things because we have a bit of an interesting dynamic among the three of us. Me and Villain often butt heads on specific issues. And Maddie obviously has his own kind of view of things. So we hear those opinions all the time. So it's nice to hear your side of things and be in the presence of your glorious pet on your face.
Thank you. Have me back anytime. This was a great time.
All right, awesome.
Good
All
to
right,
hear.
thank you for everyone who's watched. If you haven't liked or subscribed on YouTube or followed on Twitch, we do appreciate that. It's the support that we need. And we still have our giveaway running between the 14th of March to the 15th of April. We are now reaching the end of March. We're almost halfway through that period. So if you haven't become a subscriber on YouTube, do so because you need to make sure that that's the case, and then like and comment on any video posted between that time frame. Okay. Thanks, Jinx, for coming as well. Thank you, everyone, for commenting and discussing with